This is the Infinity Summit Group. Truth, passion, success.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Infinity Summit Group podcast. Today's the 23rd? Third. Today's the 23rd of January, 2024. Second. Jesus Christ. 22nd, boys. Are we recording?
We are.
Beautiful. Okay. Just double checking. And we have a special guest on today. We've been looking forward to having him on for a while now. Haven't been able to snag him. He's just a busy boy. But we got Ezra here.
Yes.
Ezra, introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi, Ezra. Happy to finally make it on.
Yeah.
Who are you? What do you do?
So I guess I'm Noah and Logan's sister's boyfriend.
Nice.
And that's kind of how I got hooked up with this fantastic group of guys.
Thanks.
Yeah. But I am a project engineer at a industrial construction company here in Salt Lake.
I'm two.
What does a project engineer do?
I think it's different for each construction company, but for the most part, they handle a lot of documentation stuff if they're on large projects. So that'll be just like your submittals, which I guess is just like a submittal is submitting something to the client to make sure that that's what they want to get, what they want built. So if you were building like a big bunch of houses or anything like that, you would submit like, hey, these are all the sinks that we're planning to put in. And they'd be like, yep, that's what we want. So it's just like an approval process.
Is that different from like a quote?
Yeah, so that would be, so like a quote, I guess let's just kind of walk you through like how you get a job, right? So usually there's a lot of estimates submitted. The company will pick whatever estimate they want to choose, whatever company they want to work with, right? And so a submittal is after you're on the job and you're just kind of confirming with the client, like, hey, this is what you guys want installed, right? And the price of that's already kind of set up usually in your estimate or in your contract just based on what the structure is, right? So there's a few different contract structures. Sometimes the clients get to see like the price of materials and everything like that. And sometimes the contract is, hey, this is the price you're going to pay no matter what. And so obviously the contractor carries a lot of risk in that type of contract because if something goes wrong, they can't go back to the client and get more money. But then with higher risk, obviously comes more opportunity to make a lot of money. So
Yeah, I was going to say, don't you guys price in kind of just in case this job goes to shit, then we still profit?
yeah, so
It's kind of what everyone does.
yeah, so it kind of depends on your contract style. So if it's a time and material contract, it's kind of exactly how it sounds, right? Like the client is going to pay you for all the time and material that they approve on the project. So something we focus a lot on at Brahma Group is daily signed timesheets and daily approval of material spent. So then at the end of the project, if we do need more money or anything like that, we go back to them and said, hey, you guys have been approving our work the whole entire time. You obviously know we're not trying to milk you out of money or anything like that. This is just maybe taking a little bit longer, or maybe the material prices went up. But on a lump sum contract, you're definitely going to want to factor in all that risk, kind of like what you were saying, because you can't go back to the client and say, hey, this took longer than we thought. It's like, unless there was a change in scope or what you're building changes, then you're kind of locked in at that price.
They actually do this with house building too. My parents are looking into building a house, and they were talking to me about that. Basically, time and materials is just like you said, time and materials, and then plus an extra fee or whatever, a certain percentage, and then the locked-in price is locked in.
Yeah.
So a lot of these custom houses, from what I understand, or custom projects are usually like time and material projects. Whereas the more cookie cutter, like we're building a whole neighborhood similar to this, is like kind of a more fixed cost unless you want additions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that changed around COVID too, when building material prices just started skyrocketing. You saw a lot of contracts pre-2019 that didn't have a clause saying, you know, hey, if building materials skyrocket up, you're going to have to cover it as the homeowner. And that's definitely something we started adding into. And just the cost of COVID, right? All the testing that we had to do for our employees on sites, all the masks, all the PPE, all the disinfection, everything like that was just an added cost that as a contractor, we're not just gonna absorb the cost and eat it all, right? Like, we're gonna try and share the cost with the clients because it's their project too, right? Mm-hmm.
So are you mostly doing like housing projects, or like what kind of projects do you guys actually do?
He does big boy projects.
So with industrial construction, we do a lot of work at mine sites, or just industrial facilities in general. So here in Salt Lake, mostly northern Salt Lake, you'll see a lot of those refineries. So a lot of those type of places, and then obviously we have Kennecott, right, which I think is one of the world's largest open pit mines. It might be the largest.
I think it is the largest.
I mean, you can see it from outer space.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty big.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we do a lot of that, and it's not a lot of people understand that work, which kind of makes it a little niche, kind of cool in my mind. But we do a lot of just like process piping. We'll do a lot of concrete, a lot of steel. And it's not very cookie cutter like the houses sometimes are, right? Custom houses are a little different, right? Because you're working with architects and everything like that. But very rarely do we have a job that's the exact same as another job. Like, we'll have very similar jobs, but never something that's we can just take this estimate and just plug it right in usually. So a lot of industrial facilities, a lot of process piping is really what we've been focusing on lately.
That's cool.
That is neat.
Yeah.
That should boom when Trump gets into office.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going crazy lately. Obviously, when this administration kind of cracked down on the oil and gas, it slowed down, obviously, in that field. And we don't do a ton in oil and gas. I mean, if you ask the guys in oil and gas how it goes, and they'll say there's big booms, and then it kind of goes up and down, right? A lot of what we do depends on the price of these precious metals. So we do a lot of work for gold mines, and the price of gold and silver and everything like that has been pretty good lately, and they just want to get, I mean, they'll always want to get as much precious materials, and, everybody wants more gold. So,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
and that's what, out at Kennecott, one of the things I don't think people realize is, copper's what they're mainly mining for, but they're getting a bunch of gold and silver,
So much gold.
and like all the byproducts that come with that too, all the chemicals and everything like that. I'm not by no means my chemical engineer, but it's the amount of work that's up there and the amount of just byproducts that come off of that mine that they sell. Like, by no means is copper their only commodity, I guess.
Do they give the employees discounts on the gold?
Right? Wouldn't that be nice?
Be dope.
One Nucor, so we have Nucor Steel is up in Plymouth, Utah, and they actually have a really interesting payment method or bonus structure. So they actually pay their employees more based on the amount of steel they produce.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, they're one of the most successful American-made steel companies still around. There's just some caveats that come with that, right? Because if your production's not great for whatever reason, usually your employees aren't happy.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a balance, but I definitely think rewarding your employees for how much they produce is the right way to go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
At some point, does Kennecott have to stop, like, digging down, or, like, how does it even work?
That's kind of what I was
How
wondering.
do they
is,
keep
like,
the scientific knowledge for that? I
and
don't know.
why there? Why is that place so rich in all those things, and not like you go like 10 miles the opposite in a different direction? Why is it not as good?
yeah, and I guess I wouldn't be able to answer why, but I do know that they are constantly doing geological surveys all around that place, constantly looking for new strains of minerals, whether it be copper or whatever else, right? Whatever they can mine and refine and sell, like they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And you always hear that Kennecott's got 10 years left, it's got 5 years left, it's got 30 years left, and
No, that bitch got 100 years
It's-
left.
yeah,
They have
'cause
so much land around there.
if they were ever to stop mining there, they would then have to start the what's it called? They basically have to put it back how they found it.
Yeah, they used to
What?
the visitor centers. They used to be able to go and see it, like their plan and stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, and they actually just finished a new visitor center. I'm not sure when they're going to be opening it. But
Going to
yeah,
the visitor center was awesome.
yeah, it is pretty cool, especially when you get into those haul truck buckets and you realize how massive those things are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But for Kennecott to shut down, there would have to be like zero thought that they would ever be able to find anything again, because the amount of work and money they would have to spend to put all the dirt back would be exponential.
Wait, so was that a law on that? Like, you have to put, like, when you're done mining a place, you have to put it all back in?
Yeah,
That's so weird.
It's I can't remember the name for it. But I'm sure it's governed by the EPA, right? It's like they're not just going to let you come in, destroy a place for all the minerals, and then leave it.
True.
Right? And it's bugging me that I can't remember the word, but
How does that even make sense? Like, how would they go about that? That would take
exactly.
hundreds of years, probably.
Yeah, and that's why they'll always find a reason to be there, I think.
Yeah.
And the laws could change, and they might be able to find a way out of it. And by no means would that process be quick, right? They're not going to be like, okay, we're shutting down. This is going to be turned around in a year. They're going to stretch it out for as long as they can, and I'm sure they could find a way to write it off on their taxes as losses. But the amount of money that's going into Kennecott right now, like they're still constantly improving all their facilities and trying to get as much ore as they can, right? So I think it's reclamation process is what I'm
Oh, yeah. What's
just
up,
came to me.
Golden Scarab Designs? He says hello.
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 Yeah, that's shocking. So is that who you mainly work with, Kennecott?
So we did a lot of work for there. We kind of took a pause from them for a couple of years, but we're back out there now. Our Utah group does a lot of work with them, and a lot of work just in those other industrial facilities around Salt Lake, whether it be rebar manufacturers. We do some work out in Morton Salt, right on the Great Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's actually a facility called Clean Harbors that is kind of it's out near the Great Salt Lake, but it's farther south. You can't really see it that well from I-80, but they just burn a lot of trash. They burn everything basically for power and everything like that. So we do a lot of work with them. But that's our Utah group. We have a Wyoming, Arizona, Nevada, California, and then a small niche market down in Louisiana that we do. So it's all kind of around that same work of industrial facilities. And that can be anything, again, from like a gold mine, or like in Arizona right now, we're doing a lot of work at the Taiwanese semiconductor plant.
Oh, sick.
So
How long are they, like, how much longer do they think until that'll be up?
I'm not sure. I'm not too involved with that project, but I just know it's going crazy, right? Like Utah just announced, what was it? The governor committed like $11 billion to a new semiconductor plant in Lehigh for Texas Instruments.
See, now that would be
Good.
badass.
Yeah, and
they actually just broke ground on it a month ago, I think. So
Let's
cool.
go.
for those who don't know, that's the reason that China wants to invade Taiwan. It's because they produce like 99% of the world's advanced semiconductors, I believe. Can you verify that, Ziv?
I'm
It's a
pretty
huge
sure that's
percentage.
correct. Or it's most of the, a
I
lot
think
of
it's
the chips,
99.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which goes into our missiles, our computers, our phones,
Everything.
like literally
Yeah.
everything.
As everything gets more technological, right? The
So
more
I'm going
Yeah.
to get one of those in Utah.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. And, I mean, $11 billion, obviously. I'll take 0.5% of that and be happy.
Yeah, Texas Instrument is massive. We've done jobs up there. We did one this summer, and they're just so shockingly big.
What's it called?
What?
What am I looking at? Like,
Oh, what percent of the semiconductors does Taiwan produce
semiconductors.
in the world?
And there's a lot of people, when this was announced in Utah, you know, because we have this whole water thing going on in Utah, as everywhere does, right? We always need more water, but semiconductors use a insane amount of water.
Well, if we'd stop letting it flow down the stream, it would be
Right.
fine.
Yeah. Luckily, last winter I think Utah did a decent job of filling up the lakes and not letting too much escape. I know that there was a couple lakes that it was like the worst year to have a problem with your dam, and I know specifically Yuba Lake couldn't close their dam for a little bit, or couldn't completely close it.
Oh.
So it's like
It's because we're sending it to California.
Oh well, yeah.
63% of.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still so much.
Over
That's
half.
like more than anyone for sure.
Yeah.
Well, especially for just the landmass that Taiwan is, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's tight.
Who else is producing them?
You got China, and it just says others here, and then South Korea, Samsung.
Okay.
yeah, when
South
you're not
Korea,
listed
China.
and you're listed in the category as other, that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 13% is other than China, South Korea, and Taiwan.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
We're just becoming a bigger and bigger target. We have
Right.
Kennecott, we've got Hill, we're gonna have semiconductors, Silicon Slopes, like
Right.
What's Silicon Slope?
that's like all down by Lehigh, all that development. You've got like Adobe, you've got
Yeah,
a
all the
ton
tech
of tech companies popping up down there.
And we have all the data collector place that they
Yeah,
have.
the NSA place.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Utah's going down.
Well, it's crazy how much of a forefront like Utah County and Salt Lake County have been just forever. I mean, Geneva Steel used to be down in Provo, and they were manufacturing the steel for all the World War II like warships and everything like that. And the reason they picked that location was because I believe it was because the Japanese fighters didn't have enough fuel to make it all the way to Utah.
That's
Well,
cool.
they won't have that problem now.
Yeah, luckily
Good
we
luck
have,
getting into Utah, though.
Yeah, luckily we have Hill just up the road.
Yeah.
They'll protect us, hopefully.
So I just looked up how many of the semiconductor plants we're making here, and there's 35 being built in the world right now, and we're building 27 of them. So
Hell yeah.
so
America on top nonstop, baby.
I think that's one good thing that came
That's the
from
way to go.
COVID. 100% is just a lot of people realizing how much dependency we have on
The entire world.
Yeah.
everyone besides us, right?
Yeah.
So you work a lot. You go out of town all the time, which the viewers wouldn't know that, but we do. What do you do in your free time? Like, what are your passions? What are your side hobbies?
I do game. Everybody loves a video game these days, I feel like.
Absolutely.
Just bought Fallout 4. Trying that for the first time.
Lovely. Did you end up buying BioShock?
No, I was looking it up and it was saying it was super laggy and like glitchy on the Series X. So I got Fallout 4 instead.
they're coming out with
Same
a
price.
Fallout movie too. I heard it
Oh,
looks
really?
pretty good. Yeah.
That'll
Sick.
be interesting.
So we'll see how that goes. But what games do you play?
Lately, I've been playing a lot of Lethal Company,
What's
which
that?
is it's a very interesting game. So basically, you're a slave for this corporation, and you just go around to these random planets and collect loot. But it's kind of like a scary horror game because when you're going around collecting loot, you're just in this dark building where monsters and other things just jump out at you.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Isn't there like this dog thing, like monster and shit like that?
Yeah, people call it a dog, but it's like this massive thing that has teeth that it's
And it's
big-
like deaf or something, or
Yeah.
it's like blind and you can't make noise or some
yeah,
shit.
exactly. Been playing a lot of that. Play Rocket League all the time. I've actually been playing a couple games of Among Us lately.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so I game, I camp. Obviously, do more of that in the summer when there's not snow everywhere.
Yeah.
And then probably golfing. Those are probably the biggest hobbies I have.
Do you snowboard or ski?
I used to snowboard a lot more, and then in college I still snowboard, but kind of falling off. And then now I would like to go at least once or twice every season, but it's the Icon Pass isn't incredibly expensive, but I just don't find myself going that much. And
Well, when I get back into it, I'm planning on buying an Icon Pass this next year. So when I do, we'll have to go.
yeah, I'm down, and I still enjoy snowboarding, but I reached the point where I was like as good as I wanted to be, and not by any means am I amazing, but I'm not the guy going to be in the park. I don't want to break my neck.
No.
And it's honestly, those injuries kind of scared me away from really diving in fully, because you hear the horror stories of people just ending up in full body casts or their knees just completely get blown out, and
Yeah.
just no fun.
Yeah, with snowboarding, it's usually your arms.
Yeah, a lot of wrist injuries.
You're falling on your wrists and shit.
Yep. Breaking the arms, all that. Yep.
Yeah, no fun.
Worth it.
Do you snowboard, Logan?
Some.
Yeah, I've been doing it for years. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
good, but I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a good blue or green trail, just cruising down the mountain
Yeah.
with the boys.
Dude, I
Or
still
that
have an
black
injury in
Noah
my back,
that you took me on.
like in my
What?
butt.
Did you say you got a butt injury?
Yeah, I went on some moguls and ate shit, dude. So anytime I sit in a seat, it like freezes up. I don't know, it's weird.
Folded myself on a tree one time. That was fun.
Hell yeah.
Trees don't move.
My femur stopped me. It was great. It was flexible.
At least it
Thank
wasn't
God.
too flexible. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
That's
that was a
wild.
fun one.
that just gives me pain.
I was
That
watching
hurts.
the tree as I was coming up. I was like, oh no. Gets unstable, fall right in front of it, and just yonk, stop on it on my femur. It's like, oh. I stood right up and jumped because in my brain, just adrenaline. I was like, fuck, if I can't stand up, it's probably not, if I can't stand up, it might be broken. So I stood up and jumped on it, and I was like, yeah, we're good. But it hurt like hell.
Oh my! Yeah,
That
you don't
don't even
realize how
sound fun.
hard trees are until you're going. Until you're snowboarding down one, you just smack one. You're like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yep. So, do you want a family when you're older, or like, I don't know. Let's say, what's your 5-year plan? I guess that doesn't really give time for a lot, but
No, definitely want a family, and I think and probably within 5 years, definitely going to start having a family. I think a big push for that for me is just my parents, right? As your parents get older, I think, I want them to be part of my kids' lives, right? I'm sure just like everyone else that wants a family. So definitely start a family, further my career. I'm thinking about going back to school to get either a MBA or a engineering. Let's see, what's it called? It's a master's in engineering, but it's like a business degree in engineer master's. So it's not like a technical master's degree in engineering. And again, I'm struggling to remember the name, but so probably the next 5 years, further my career, potentially go back to school and probably start a family. So
Right on.
that'd be awesome.
so yeah, it's scary getting older, man. You don't realize all the choices you have.
Yeah. How old are you?
26.
26. Nice.
Yeah, and time keeps going by faster, so I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I'm 30 or 40 or however old, right?
Yeah. Ugh. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Dude, it's weird to think about getting older, and especially watching your parents get older, right? They hit that 50, 60, 70-year-old mark, and you can really see them age. I think when we're kids, you kind of see your parents as a never-going-away thing. I mean, they're going to die, but seeing them get older is a different thing.
Yeah.
So
It's like that Kenny Chesney song, Don't Blink.
exactly.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I just think about like how it was back in high school, right? And it's just like living the dream, no worries, and then before you know it, you're 25, out of college, thinking about starting a family, and it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
where'd the time go?
For real.
What do you do for the financial side of things? Like, do you have a budget? Do you bring in enough money where you don't budget? Like, what does that look like for you?
I don't have a set budget, but I think I'm money conscious.
Okay.
So it's not like I just spend my money freely. But I also feel like I'm a little, like I don't buy a lot of shit, I guess.
Yeah.
But if there is something that I want, I usually buy. But I guess just money conscious. I've always been decent with money in terms of like once I started making real money. I've never really been in financial trouble in terms of credit card debt or anything like that. So thankful
What's
for
your
that.
credit score?
I
You
just
don't mind us asking.
No, not at all. Right now it's 730. It was a little higher, but then I just opened 2 credit cards, so
That'll do it.
Yep. It was like at 780, and then it plummeted, and I was like, what the? And then I was like, oh, I just opened 2 credit cards. That'll happen.
Makes sense.
And really, I only got those credit cards because I just wanted to keep on building a better credit score, right, and a deeper credit history.
Yeah.
Just so when I do go get a mortgage, or if I ever need to get a car loan or any loan, I guess in general, just so I have that history to get a decent rate and not screw myself over.
Well, I think anywhere in the 700s, they're going to be happy with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to I was a used car salesman for about 3 months. And amount of
that sounds soul sucking.
yeah, it was just a summer job, and I was really interested in cars, and I still enjoy cars, but I was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot, and I enjoyed it, but the amount of horrible credit scores that you see come through is just insane. And like, you see somebody come in, it's like, yeah, I want this car, and it's like, dude, you got a 500, 400 credit score, you're going to be paying $900, $800 a month for this $30K piece of crap. Yeah. It's like, it was like whatever, but it's just, I don't think you should be buying a car right now. I think you should be going and finding a 99 Honda Accord and just riding that thing out till the
Building
wheels
the
fall off.
credit.
Yeah, exactly.
For the listeners right now, everyone who's joined, welcome. If you have any questions in the chat, please drop them. Let us know. I'm watching it, so we'll get your questions in.
Would you ever go back to doing anything with cars?
I think I would pursue it more as a hobby. My dad just bought a Oh, he's gonna kill me because I can't remember the year. I want to say it's a '71 Chevelle. I think Logan actually posted a picture of it on your guys' Instagram. Oh, he's not here. I'll ask Logan when he comes back. But so I could, me and him have definitely spent. Me and him have definitely spent some time just working on the car a little bit. By no means is it a restoration car. It's already in pretty good shape, but I've just enjoyed spending time with my dad and just around the car, being around those old cars where everything's mechanical, nothing's computerized, and you can kind of see how everything works is definitely fun. So
Something you can actually work on.
yeah, exactly. So I think definitely as a hobby, I think as far as career goes, at least for the next 5 to 10 years, I'm on the path that I'm going to be on. But anything can happen. Life happens, right? So
Right on.
do you like cars, Jesse?
I can't say that I care for him very much.
Right. Just
Car's a car to me.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get you where you want to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I don't know if I could ever do a full restoration project. That's a lot of time. I don't know if I have the knowledge for it.
Every once in a while, my dad will paint cars for Gordon.
Oh.
And I'm sure you've seen it, the purple and the orange one and stuff. That's so much work for him. He doesn't even have to do all of it. He's just painting them.
Yeah, Gordon's what car does he have that is just everything in it is orange? Is it a Supra? It might be. I can't remember.
Sounds right.
It
But I
sounds
don't know.
right, but I'm not exactly sure.
But everything in that car is orange, I think.
So this is the owner of Full Blown Coatings. They were talking about a powder coating company, and he's a big car guy. We're yet to have him on the pod, but we need to have him on. It'd be fun. But the question is, and this is something that'll show who you are, is what's your dream car?
Ooh, it's a 1966 Ford Shelby Mustang GT 500 Cobra Fastback.
God damn.
It's the car from Gone in 60 Seconds. It is a beautiful car, an amazing car, and unfortunately, a very expensive car.
How much is it?
So there's actually a couple companies that will make these. They'll make these cars, but they'll update them with all like current technology.
Now
Those
that
ones
could
are
be dope.
Yeah, those ones are hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you could find one that was in decent shape, I mean, they'd still probably be 80 to 90 grand,
Dang.
and that would still probably need some work. But retro cars, I don't know if there's anything like them. They're just beautiful. Old American muscle.
They did go down in style for sure.
Yeah.
But then
Although
go ahead.
the recent Corvettes
Oh,
are pretty sexy.
yeah.
Recent Corvettes.
Yeah, they're almost like a Lambo look.
Yeah.
They're very sleek.
No, why does the car tell people who you are? I'm curious about
It
that.
just tells a lot about a person.
Yeah.
What kind of cars they like, or like their favorite book, which is the next question,
Ooh.
or like, I mean, maybe favorite movie, but yeah, that can change.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
There's
Yeah,
some of these things. Yeah, some of these things just like you thought about this, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been I actually got
It's a man who knows what he wants.
I remembered I got asked that same question when I was in like 6th grade, and I rattled off that exact same answer, and everybody just looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, why do you have that memorized?
Yeah, how do you know this?
So, what's your favorite book now?
Can I answer with a series?
Sure.
I might have to say the Percy Jackson series.
Really?
I read it when I was younger, and I've always liked it. I have started trying to read more, actually, but right now I'd probably say the Percy Jackson series.
Boy, do we have some series for you.
Do you like the new movie or the movies that came out and the TV show that's coming out right now?
So I watched the first movie that came out, and I was disappointed just like everybody else.
Yeah. Yep.
And didn't even watch. Did they come out with the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Didn't even watch it.
Yeah, I haven't seen the second one either, but
And then me and Sabrina have actually been watching that new series that's out on Disney Plus.
yeah.
It's good. It's definitely Disney-fied, right? But they're following the main storyline and at least trying to keep the same structure. I don't know if the author was involved in the movies, but I know he's been involved in the series. So
That's good.
it's decent, but you definitely have those Disney moments that are like I could do without the cringe.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a Percy Jackson series or what?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief. Yeah, so
Oh.
it's following the first book. I hope they do more, just because I
have to
enjoyed
watch
the
it.
book so much, and I do enjoy Greek mythology and those stories.
I loved those growing up.
Oh.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
That's sweet. You got any vacations planned for, I don't know, next year? This year, I guess? It's the start of it.
So my family does a yearly Idaho trip where we go up to Cascade Lake, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Boise, Idaho. We usually go up there for a week and hang out on the lake and have a good time. Me and Sabrina are talking about a Disneyland trip currently, which I know we talked to all you guys out about as well. So that could be fun. Looking at a cruise potentially. Maybe,
Oh, hell yeah.
right?
Where?
Yeah, I saw your guys' Hawaiian cruise and wanted to get back in it. So
Have you ever been on one?
the only cruise I've been on is to Alaska, which if you haven't been to Alaska, then you're missing out on life, I think, in my opinion. It is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
It's definitely a hole in my heart that I haven't been there.
Yeah, it is. It is amazing. I mean, the amount of untouched land that's up there is just incredible, right? It's like humans haven't touched it, and not that humans destroy everything. I don't think I'm on that train, but Alaska is just beautiful. And so we did an Alaskan cruise for after I graduated high school. Me, my mom, my dad. It was a good time. So, and me and my dad usually go to Alaska every other year. So I'm not sure if we're going this year yet, but we'll probably go next year if we don't go.
I want
this
to
year.
get in a bush plane up there. That'd be so
cool.
fun.
Yeah, so when we did the cruise, one of the places, I can't remember which little city it was that we stopped at, but we did like a tour in one of the seaplanes, which was really fun. And then after that, like I said, me and my dad have gone back every year to go fishing. And every time you do that, or we do that anyways, we fly into Juneau, stay a night, and then you always take a seaplane to wherever the fish camp is.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
And that seaplane ride is one of the best parts about the whole trip, because you're just seeing, like I said, this untouched land and just pure nature, I guess.
Isn't it cold as shit up there?
It can be. It definitely can be. Not last summer, but the summer before when we were up there, though, it was a really hot summer up there, and I remember I was in just jeans and a t-shirt just fishing in the middle of the ocean. So it was unnatural, because the 2 years before that we were there, we were covered in rain gear, rubber boots, 100% the whole way, and it was just raining the whole entire time, and it was miserable. So it was definitely a change of pace. But I think the summers up there aren't too cold, but I think the winters are just
Brutal.
yeah. And I don't think they have. I'm sure their winters are much longer than their summers. Right?
They are, and the sun doesn't go down either.
Yeah, that alone just would be horrible.
In the summer, it
Yeah.
doesn't go down.
But the winter, it's like dark always. isn't
Yes.
it?
So they have. So I had an aunt that lived up there, and they have to have special lighting and everything, so you don't get depressed from the lack of
I
D3.
bet. Yeah.
And it's wild. And they would send pictures all the time, like minus 50, minus 60.
No, thank you.
Fun fact about Alaska too. Russia used to own Alaska. America bought it from the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago? Do you know?
I'm not sure the exact number or the dates of that,
Yeah.
but I'll look it up.
So where would this next cruise be?
So we actually got invited by some friends to come on a cruise with them that they had won through the casinos out in Wendover.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where. We're still trying to get details and figure it all out, but we may or may not do that, just kind of depending on the timing of things and PTO and that whole game, right?
Yeah.
So,
1867. Sorry.
oh wow, that's more recent than I thought.
That's what. Yeah, me too. Well,
So, question is, are you shooting for retiring early, financial freedom? Do you enjoy working? Like, what's the plan here?
I think right now I definitely, enjoy working, and then I just, in my mind, I'm at that age where it's just kind of like in the grind, right? Kind of work now to not work later, I guess. But at that same time, I don't know if I could ever not work. Not saying that I could definitely not work 40 hours a week, but in terms of not working at all, I think I'd always want to be involved in something going on. But I definitely wouldn't mind golfing every day and just working on hobbies or whatever. So, but definitely financially wise, trying to get everything in order. I think I'm definitely getting a late start on the financial planning, I guess, and the investing side of that.
26 is not late.
Well, yeah, I guess not late. But just something that, I think the last year I've thought a lot about, and I don't know why and maybe I don't know if you guys experience this as well, but I seem hesitant, or I don't know why, but just seem hesitant to get that process going. I don't know if it's just because it's change and something new or what, but not sure.
I don't know. Hardest part is starting.
Yeah.
Like 90% of the time, and then you wonder why you didn't do it. And then you stop, and then it's hard again,
Yep.
Yeah, what's the most important step?
The first.
The next one.
Oh, damn it.
Damn it.
That's a good quote.
Yeah.
Book.
Yeah, what book was that again?
Stormlight Archives.
There you go.
It's The Way of Kings.
Yeah, okay. That was the series I was going to recommend you, by the way.
Okay.
The Way of Kings. It's damn good.
It's so cool.
What's it about?
It's magic, high fantasy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely
You might
give it a
like
shot. Yeah, I've been getting more into Audible. Just like Logan was saying earlier, I do travel quite a bit, and usually that traveling is driving. So, just been trying to get into Audible and listen to as many books as I can. I go back and forth between podcasts and music and books, but I'm trying to read more.
When I buy books, I like outside of Audible, when I go to buy physical books, I try to buy the books such that, say I were to pass away or whatever, then my kids reading my library would come out the same or similar morality as me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a bunch of cool shit, like both on the morality and the psychological and spiritual aspects of everything. Trying to buy books that will assist my kids and future generations in coming into the same kind of conclusions.
That's one genre that I don't think I've read a ton on, and probably will and want to start reading more of, is that like morality, spirituality, and like thinking, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And not that there's anything wrong with sci-fi and fantasy, because I do enjoy the hell out of those type of books, but
Those make the drive short.
yes.
They're nice.
Plus, they have some good pieces, like some nuggets of wisdom in those anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's why I like The Way of Kings.
Yeah.
It's got a good morality all throughout.
Definitely have to
It's
give it a
pretty
listen.
sick.
How many books is it?
4?
4.
Okay.
The
They
5th
are-
one comes out next year.
Oh, yes.
But they're also the end of this year. But they're also 60 hours long.
They are very long.
Are you a big reader, Logan?
No.
No. Listener or neither?
I don't mind listening, but I don't like reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It's not bad.
Well, when you're ready to start that journey, I got some damn good books for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I've got a nasty library.
I think having a library is so underrated, or maybe it's not, and I just think everybody thinks it is.
Well, a
but-
library can't get taken out by an EMP.
Yeah, no.
You know?
No.
Like, most of the stuff we have now, including your bank accounts, gone.
Gone. Yeah, all that money, gone.
I actually thought about that, having like a vault of books, just like somewhere like an impenetrable vault.
Yeah, like a
Hit-
fireproof vault or something.
Yeah, like hidden somewhere, and you have to like have a map to go find it. I don't know, for like the future generations.
Like a treasure map.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is Inner Pirates coming out?
Well, think about how cool it would be if you like your grandpa, like when he died, left like a book for you to go like find
Oh,
some
yeah.
buried treasure. That'd be the coolest fucking shit ever.
That
That's
would be
called a
pretty
treasure
cool.
map. I don't know if that's called it. So, were you a pirate in the past life? Zabe, is that
Maybe.
what
Maybe I was. I don't know.
Redbeard.
Yeah, Redbeard.
Is it hard to protect electronics from an EMP?
They have
Yes
stuff
and
for
no.
it.
I like, is it hard to buy, I guess?
No.
I
Nope.
was just wondering, because you can download, like, all of Wikipedia and just have it on a computer would be... That's a lot of information. And
Yeah.
If you could just have that on a computer, that's your safe computer.
And
you've
then it
got
becomes a
all-
matter of trying to find a place to charge it and things like
Right.
that, right? So if
But
you
if
have
you
a
had it
solar
for-
Need
panel,
a solar, yeah.
If
they're
you had
cool.
it for a little while, too, that would even help. If you
Yeah.
didn't know how to farm or nothing, that's everything you could ever want.
It's
on
called a Faraday cage.
Yeah.
So they have Faraday bags for laptops, phones, whatever you got. And then they've got Faraday cages. You can put Faraday cages around like safes or whatever. They've got all sorts of cool shit. You can Faraday the
Interesting.
shit out of it. You just won't have any cell signal in a room with a Faraday cage, right?
Is it just a bag or like a coating that like EMPs can't
So
get through?
you know the front of your microwave?
Yeah.
That like
Oh.
design? That's a Faraday cage.
Oh.
It's literally like
Radiation.
a metal mesh that prevents all frequencies from penetrating it, or most frequencies.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So
That's
the
insane.
EMP, what it does is like releases too much electricity and frequency that it just overloads everything.
Gotcha.
As I understand it, you probably know a little better about the engineering shit, but the Faraday cage prevents that. And you can put them inside of each other, like you put your Faraday bag in a bigger one or whatever, and then
It's like a Russian
very
doll,
little,
Faraday
yeah.
bag.
And then you got very little chance. So, what I'm gonna be doing, like we've got a hard drive with pictures on it of the kid and everything, and our life throughout, and I'm gonna make a copy of that hard drive, keep them at 2 separate houses, and have them in Faraday bags, so you won't lose your pictures.
That's cool.
So that's the plan anyway.
Throw Wikipedia into those.
What's
Yeah.
your trust factor of Wikipedia?
Better than what I know.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, if I needed to know how to farm, I'd look at Wikipedia.
That's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Isn't Wikipedia like anybody can edit it, or is it, or like you have to
Yeah.
be certified by Wikipedia?
Yes,
or
anybody
anything
can
like
edit
that?
it, but much like a Reddit or a Quora, you're eventually going to come to the right answer when everyone can edit it,
That
right?
makes sense. Yeah.
You're going to have the smartest guy in the room coming in like, oh, this is all trash. Let's change it, right?
Well, what if
Yeah,
they
it might not be
disagree
the-
and they just keep changing it back and forth?
And that's possible, and people get banned for changing Wikipedia pages sometimes.
I've seen some funny changes on Wikipedia. I can't
Yeah.
remember them, but
yeah.
after like a sports loss or something like that, someone will go in and change the father of somebody who just beat him or something like that.
Just make up history.
Right.
That's funny. So we haven't really talked about it, but are you religious? I don't know if you go to church or not.
Ooh.
So I grew up. I grew up not going to church. My mom and dad were both raised very LDS. They're both from Utah County, so no surprise there. My dad grew up in a big family, 7 brothers and sisters. My mom didn't have quite as big of a family, but still very LDS. My dad was one of the few in his family that didn't go on a mission. The bishop brought him in one day and was talking to him about, hey, when are you thinking you're going to go on your mission and everything like that? And he said, oh, I'm gonna go right after I get back from New York. And the bishop said, so when are you going to New York? And he said, hopefully never. So
Hell yeah.
But growing up, we didn't go to church much. I did go to church a few times just when, staying with cousins or anything like that, and they would obviously go on Sunday, and I was never really against it or anything like that, and I think I have a curious mind, so I was always interested in kind of what that looked like.
I've got some books for you.
Okay.
There's a book for that. Just kidding.
There's a book for everything, right? I definitely I've went to like a Christian camp. I went to I have vague memories of going to a Jewish thing, and then I actually finished up high school at a Catholic high school. Yeah. Excuse me. But yeah, finishing up at a Catholic high school definitely immersed me more in religion than I ever had been, especially since they can, they have a religion class where you learn about everything. But myself, I think, it's hard for me to think that there's nothing higher than us. But I guess I don't think about it too much. Like I'm not a guy that prays every night or anything like that. But I don't think down on anybody or anything like that if they're religious or in whatever that religion might be, right? Like teach their own on that part, I guess.
I think that's a good mindset about it.
Yeah.
More and more of our generation is refusing the foundational churches and just being like, nah, just be a good person,
Yeah, and that's I the morals that Christianity and most of the mainstream religions set out. Like I think we can all mainly agree that the base morals are usually good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, they all preach love one another, right? And
Yeah.
treat each other how do you want to be treated. And I mean, whether that's religious or not, you can take away from that
Yeah,
and run it in your real life.
Yeah, I mean, if you live your life by the 10 Commandments for the most part, I think you'd probably live a pretty morally sound life for the most part.
Yeah.
I think the moralities of the Church of Satan have a good place in society.
Interesting.
Because they believe it's more like it's not necessarily like devil worship, all this other shit. It's more like going against the system. They're just like, fuck everything, but in a different kind of way. It's not the get slapped and turn the other cheek. It's the get slapped and hit the other person back. Like, what the fuck,
Well, the
Knife
Church
or
of Satan, it was only like kind of quote unquote dark in the very beginnings of it when they would actually murder people and set people out to harm each other. But Yeah, nowadays it's very much different, and it is just a big F you to the system. You can look it up. And that's how it's been for many, many years at this point.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody would argue that every religion has a dark side to it, even if it whether it be a dark history or even now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can either sacrifice chickens or diddle kids. You know, it is what it is.
The Mormon Church has a big case on their hands right now about a little diddler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they threw under the rug. You can look it up. It is a pretty bad one that they're still trying to cover up.
And they're all gonna have shit like that where someone goes off the rails and takes it in a cult like manner. You know.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Bad
mean,
people in every good organization.
yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
Religion is good. I don't think it should go anywhere ever.
Nope.
Because it sets a very valuable moral compass that some people cannot find on their own or choose not to. And so with religion, it keeps people in alignment, which is good, or else there would be chaos. And obviously there's recognition of that, but it's not for everyone.
It's also helpful because it gives, in some instances, I should say, because it gives people a reason to live, where they don't have to take as much accountability for the fact that they are alive and they
Correct.
get to produce in this world, and they're just like, God's will or however they do it, Allah's will, and it is what it is, and that's how a lot of people who are in less than ideal circumstances survive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I agree 100% with you, Logan. Like, religion shouldn't go anywhere, but I also don't think it should be forced on anyone, right?
No, yeah.
That's when things start going south real quick, I think.
Freedom of religion is one of the things we benefit in this country, or non-religion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, either way you look at it, I think it's great. Even in Russia, they're a little less. They have more freedoms than we do in some aspects, but also we have a lot more than they do, especially when it comes to religion. Because I'm pretty sure Russian is a very Christian nation. Can you look that up?
I mean, I would imagine so. Isn't the Kremlin in Russia? No, where is it?
The Kremlin, yeah, it's in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Orthodox Christian.
Yeah, okay.
And the Kremlin's like its own state, right?
Kind of like the Vatican,
Yeah,
Yeah.
little city-state.
very interesting how that works.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Kremlin is like what Putin, he's a part of, I think.
Well,
Look,
religion
can you
and
look up
religious
what the
practices happen
Kremlin
to be
is?
one of the fastest ways to get wealthy
It's KREM.
because they're not taxed.
No, not at all. I mean, look at that. Talking about the Mormon Church.
And the Catholic Church,
Yeah.
my God.
Oh yeah, the Catholic Church. I mean, the Catholic Church I think is a little more hidden, or I guess a little bit more vague in how much money they have. But
It's all in the Vatican.
yeah, it's all everything is in the Vatican, right? But the Mormon Church, what was it like last summer? They had that huge SEC fine. Well, like the fine wasn't that big, but the funds that were found out were all the tithing that was.
Yeah, getting donated. Like billions and billions of dollars.
Just the assets they own are well over $100 billion.
I think the Mormon
It's
Church is like
ridiculous.
the first or second largest owner of cattle farms in the U.S., I want to say.
So weird.
Is Bill
Who
Gates
is it?
I was
the
going to say
first?
shortly behind Bill Gates.
And then China.
Yeah,
you
I've
say?
heard-
The churches, you say?
yeah, the LDS Church.
The LDS Church.
Well, I mean, dude, it's just a huge business,
Oh, yeah.
right? Like,
Tax-free business, too. They're genius.
The Kremlin's a fortress, it says.
So we're all off.
Mormon Church was the first OnlyFans. Prove me wrong.
The Moscow Kremlin, also known as the Kremlin, is fortified complex in the center of Moscow. It is the best-known Kremlin.
Okay, so it's like the White House, but
Yeah.
of Russia.
It includes like 5 palaces, 4 cathedrals, and shit. So yeah, it's like the White House basically, but it's like I think bigger. It's like a fucking
Interesting.
place.
Complex.
yeah, they're
Yeah, it's-
rich as fuck,
yeah.
for sure. I think the other people that are really rich that not a lot of people
Communism
realize.
does that. Makes a few people very rich.
A
Yeah.
few people, yeah.
Yep.
Well, and then you got like all the old oil dynasties, old oil families, and
Oh, yeah, dude.
in the Middle East, like the princes and those guys, like
Oh yeah.
trillions of dollars.
Right.
Yeah,
We
Elon
have-
Musk isn't the richest.
We have no clue how much money they have.
No. Well, and like, isn't it? I read something the other day, and I wanted to look this up, but I heard that the only reason we called Saudi Arabia is because it's the Saudi family that runs it, and it's really just Arabia.
What?
Arabian Nights.
That'd be interesting.
Well, and like part that Saudi Arabia is just such an interesting place, right? Because they have so much power because they have all the oil, right? And that's one of the reasons the U.S. dollar is so powerful is because they still only trade with the U.S. dollar?
No, Saudi Arabia joined BRICS.
And that's recent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The House of Saud.
Yeah. The House of Saud.
It's a royal house, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's
go
So
around
wild
there.
that they have princes
gold
still,
Bugattis.
and everyone's just like, yeah, they got princes.
Yeah, princes with a 100-level skyscraper with Bugattis up at the top. It's like, what?
Pet tigers
And
and
it's
shit.
like so opulent. It's like no reason to be that opulent.
So you're saying there's a chance I can get that money from the Nigerian prince?
Yeah, answer the email right now. Send your credit card and
Okay.
social security number.
If I have to.
Yeah, I mean, outside of the Middle East, the only princes and everything like that would be England, right?
Right.
Jess, I'm curious why you said excessive opulence.
Yeah.
Why?
Like some of the stuff they do, you're kind of like, really? Like they didn't need to do that. I know they can. want
And?
that, but it just
Well, they don't need to build that city in the middle of the desert.
What's it called? The wall or
something like
I
it's
don't
just-
know, but
they
it's
have money,
cool.
so they spend it. So I get whatever. Do what you want. It just seems so.
yeah?
They
They,
keep that
It
money
feels
flowing.
hollow to me.
what was the word you used?
Excessive
No, excessive.
opulence.
Opulence.
What does opulence mean?
Like,
Like having gold everywhere.
grandeur.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, they base their wealth off of their license plate number.
Yeah,
That's weird.
that's maybe. It just seems maybe opulent from where we live. Like like having a license plate number that's number 1 doesn't mean anything to me.
Well, just imagine you have $500 billion to spend.
Yeah.
I'm buying
Wouldn't
the best
you-
license plate I can.
Yeah, I was going to say, wouldn't you buy 100
Yeah, I don't
Mercedes
know.
just for fun? Like,
They're tax write-offs.
Well, they don't.
yeah,
I just-
potentially.
I seen a guy. He was walking through it, and he just said it feels hollow because it means nothing to anybody over there.
Interesting.
So it was just it was an interesting take on it.
Yeah, but the amount of taxes that well, I guess they don't really tax corporations over there, but the amount of wealth over there is
It is
freaking ridiculous.
crazy.
Insane.
I know they
I
got
mean,
a
their
ton.
cop cars are Lamborghinis. Some of them, you know,
Yeah.
like why?
Yeah, like it doesn't seem like quite functional. I get Lamborghinis are sweet and they're fast, but it seems like there's better cars for that.
Yeah, but Dubai's just a flat islet, little islet, isn't it?
I
A
have
little
no idea.
peninsula almost, because it's all man-made.
Is it?
Is it really?
No, it's not a peninsula. It's out in the desert.
yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. But it's all just like desert. It's all
It's
flat.
crazy.
Here, yeah, that would be excessive. Out
I
there.
mean, they have swimming pools in the middle of the desert. How cool is They have the deepest pool in the world. That's kind of cool. I want to visit Dubai so bad.
Dude,
Well, you have all these people who
So
base their
cool.
companies out of Dubai because they don't get taxed. It's just
Yeah.
it's crazy. Because they don't have corporate tax, as far as I understand.
And speaking of cool things like that, we've changed like the weather in like Las Vegas because we've pumped so much water down there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get like rainstorms more often and stuff like that. So they've totally terraformed that part.
In Texas, you say?
No, in Vegas.
Oh, Vegas.
Dude,
I just thought that was really interesting. I read that. a
And
couple years ago.
floods.
Yeah, they like totally terraformed that little part of Nevada.
That's awesome.
some of the craziest rainstorms I've ever been in is when I lived in Mesquite, Nevada, which is like an hour north of Vegas, I think. I think that's the right direction. Yeah, you get caught in one of those rainstorms and it's unreal. It's like when you get the whiteouts in Salt Lake for snow. Just crazy rain. You got rivers running down the middle of the road, and it's
That's
insane.
cool.
That is
That
cool.
was pretty down there. When I was down there and it stormed, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful down there, and
See
you
it just rolling over all the desert. Oh,
and you wouldn't believe it. But once you get up in those mountains too, like it's a forest. Like there is tons of trees everywhere, and that's actually where I shot my first deer when I got up there. And I had never been up in the mountains, and we got up in there, and we were like, where are we? Like, are we still in the desert? Like,
wait, where is this?
Mesquite, Nevada.
Oh,
That's
Mesquite.
cool.
Yeah.
It's so weird how being in Utah can, like, it affects your view on water. Like,
Yeah.
there's not water everywhere, but like Dallin, when he came on, said there's just so much water over there they don't know what to do with it.
shout out Daltron Printing.
But he lives in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
And he said there's just so much water they don't know what to do with it. Like, I can't even imagine having so much water all the time, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem real.
Yeah, I was
Very interesting.
I was down in Louisiana for working, and it's funny because they're like, yeah, our sea level's like negative. right? Like their worry about water is completely different than ours.
Yeah.
Like just like what you're saying, like they're trying to keep water away from them. They want it gone. They want it, and we're like, no, we'll take as much water as we can get.
Yeah, we like when it snows so it can fill up our lakes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just interesting.
Just real quick, Dubai is not in the middle of the desert.
Oh.
It is by the ocean.
Oh.
What?
Yes.
Right, because they made those like artificial islands out there.
Yeah.
The ones that
Oh,
look like
that's
palm
true.
trees.
They're huge.
Maybe that's what I was thinking
huge
of then.
islands, just like man-made islands.
Which,
Wild.
that's crazy. That's so cool.
What can you look up? What the project is that they just started in the middle of the desert? Look up. If you just look up the wall,
The wall.
Dubai. I can't.
Oh, I've heard of
The
that
one
where
that's
it's
all
like
reflective.
yeah, it's like a fucking
They're building almost like a Star Wars-esque type city where it's like a multi-level city in the middle of the
Wasn't it
desert.
supposed to be self-sustainable too?
Yeah.
Entirely?
Yeah, the goal of it is you go there and you never have to leave.
It's called the Line. That might be what
yeah,
it's
I
called.
think it's
Yeah, but it's like a mile long or something. It's just a
it's
giant.
called the Line Project.
How big is it?
Hold on.
It's insane. Like and I remember when it came out, everybody was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," but it'll never happen. And then they announced that they broke ground like
Yeah, they're doing
6
it.
to 8 months ago. Yeah.
It's the Line is a walled city just around 200 meters wide and 170 kilometers long. Kilometers, yeah.
100.
Which
That's
is supposed to
huge.
be located at an altitude of 500 meters above sea level.
That's
I thought it was
so
fake
cool.
when I saw it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't look
Well,
real.
because it looks scientific or sci-fi.
Yeah, it does. It looks like something off like one of those Black Mirror episodes or
Yeah.
Some
something.
arc shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 200 meters across is not very big.
No.
Like for a whole city, that's crazy.
no, that's like what
But
2,000
it's
feet.
thin as hell. So they're probably just going to have a
600.
rail that goes all the way
Right?
back and
200
forth.
meters.
200 meters.
It's 600
Oh.
feet-ish.
Yeah.
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 I added one more times 3 in there.
Yeah, so you
A
could probably
meter's
just walk
under
to
a yard,
everything.
right? I think.
What?
I said a meter's just under a yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I went yards, feet, and then decided to multiply by 3 again.
Imagine if they kept doing that, though, and just did like a line.
Yeah.
That'd be insane. You could like house so many people.
Well, I think it's going to be really interesting to see, because you're going to get something where it's like, okay, all the cheap, not cheap, but the affordable living is going to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
And all the really expensive shit's going to be at the top, right?
It's like New York.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it'll start being like some crazy sci-fi slums. You get shittier the lower you go.
Yeah, did you guys ever see Altered Carbon
Dude,
on
I
Netflix?
love that.
That's kind of how I think of that, where it's like the ground level is like just dirty, everything like that, and then up in the sky is where all the rich people live. It's so nice and everything. It's
That's how Star Wars is. When they're going into the underbelly,
yeah.
they're going
Yeah.
lower and lower.
That's in so many things. It's in Arcane. It's in Alita, Warrior Princess, or whatever that show is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in everything.
Well,
We're just creating it.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because you'd be farther away from the sun, so it just...
It's how it is now. What do you mean?
It's bottom
The better
feeders.
view you get, the more expensive it gets.
yeah, the penthouses are on top, right?
We just
So-
have a lot of space out here. Over in Boston, dude, they're stacked.
Are they?
Just so deep. There's no yards over there.
and they don't know how to
just-
drive.
Yeah, that's true. Well, they know how to drive, but their city doesn't know how to have cars. It's terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't built for cars.
No, dude, there was like 5- and 6-way intersections. Like, how the fuck do you do that? And they just made it happen. Just random.
I don't know.
It was wild.
It's wild that cities aren't planned out, like Utah and grid and stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like that would be the
amazing.
way
Well, they
going
were planned
forward.
out. They're just not planned out for cars and buggies. They were planned out.
Right, well, even
Well,
if,
maybe they had
Revolution.
buggies back then. Yeah, exactly.
but even if you weren't like new cities, why aren't all new cities planned out like that? It's so
Serious.
convenient.
Yeah.
Should.
You can
A
thank
lot of
the
these are
Mormon
planned
Church
out.
for that, I think.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Really?
A lot of them.
I don't know that.
I mean, yeah, the Mormon Church colonized Utah
That's true.
Well,
That's a
and-
good point.
and if-
on a large scale, you know.
Yeah.
But if you follow the grid system, like zero east or whatever, and 0 south and whatever is like the temple.
It's the
downtown.
temple.
Yeah.
Oh,
Starts at the temple and
Yeah.
goes out.
really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I
didn't even
think
know
a
that.
lot of the different valleys you go to are the same thing.
Yeah.
It starts at the temple and goes out.
Yeah, I think the Mormon Church gets a lot of hate, and probably some of it deserves, right? But I think they've done a pretty good job at Utah. I mean, didn't we just get ranked like the #1 state? Just period.
I don't know, but I believe it.
We're
It's dope.
definitely on the top 5 list of best places to live
Yeah.
in in the U.S. for sure. I don't know if like the best city or what that
Yeah.
like exactly correlates to, but it's like definitely one of the best places to live.
I enjoy Utah. I mean, I don't plan on leaving anytime soon.
I love it. I think all my customers say that. They're like, I hate Utah. You can't really party here. It's not fun. I'm like, that's kind of why it's so nice.
Yeah.
That's why it looks like this. If it wasn't and it was like Vegas was or like any of the surrounding like states, it would look like shit. Like, no offense, but it's like the reason it's harder to get like a bunch of those like, you know, a bunch of alcohol and shit like that, and there's not like parties constantly going on, makes us a little more nicer. And
If you want to party, go to Nashville.
yeah, exactly.
It's like the party city
That place is
of
crazy.
the US.
It's insane. They're on like there's these fucking bicycle trains where people are just drinking on this little bike bus thing. I was like, what the fuck is this? I stepped into a new world.
Like, I'm home.
They've also got one of the biggest red light districts in the US, I think.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it's like when we were going on a ghost tour one time, we're walking past the part of the city, and he's like, don't go down that way at night. Like, don't go in this part of town at night.
I vaguely
It's
remember
wild.
that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was talking to people from New York that used to live there, that are from there, and they're just like working with us, and they were saying like, if you walk down somebody's street and they rob you, it's your fault because you shouldn't have been there. And I was like, what? That's so backwards to me.
My gun begs to differ.
Yeah,
But
Like-
then you'd probably get put in prison.
It's true. In New York, yep.
but that's the difference.
He assaulted
between-
me, officer. I just wanted his wallet.
But you think like how different it is from like going to big cities like that to coming out west over here. You know, it's like for us, it's like I can go wherever I want and you shouldn't fuck with me. But if you go out there, it's like you shouldn't do that. And if you did, you're just stupid.
We are still the Wild West out here,
Yeah.
where it's like, freedom loving, except California.
I was gonna say, just don't go too
And,
far
well,
west.
Yeah, if you go near the coasts again, you're screwed. But like inland is freedom loving and happy Americans.
I actually love Wyoming. Wyoming's awesome.
Wyoming's
Wyoming is
awesome.
amazing.
Sick up there.
Montana, that's probably one of my favorite states so far.
As long as you're not there in the winter, that place gets brutal cold.
I love winter. I don't even care.
Dude, I had
Fucking love it.
one of my old bosses was just up there last week on a job walk, and he said it was -30.
Ew.
Ew.
Bring it on, baby.
Yeah, and then our chief estimator walked into the conversation. He's like, "Oh yeah, my buddy lives up in northern Montana, and he said it was -60 with the wind chill." It's like, nah, I'm good.
That's a little
fuck
cold.
Yeah, I like I enjoy the snow for the most part. I might not like shoveling it, but I
Yeah.
definitely enjoyed somewhat of a Four Seasons. I think that might
Yeah.
change as I get older, though.
If you want a nice valley that does get cold in big winters, you got Cache Valley.
I can get behind that. I want to
Gets like
experience
-20.
all the seasons. I
Yeah.
think it's so much funner when lots of snow. It's really nice in the summer.
Yeah.
It feels like 4 distinct seasons. I think it's a lot nicer.
That's Utah, baby.
Yeah.
Our
that's
winter
fair.
lasts quite a long time though. When
yeah,
it's bad.
you're a Park City boy though.
That's true.
Yeah,
Down
that's a
here in the
different-
valley, it's
yeah.
different.
That's true.
And I think our winters have kind of shifted. I feel like they more so start in, well, except for last year. Last year was kind of
little
back
aggressive.
to the old winter, I guess, of
Well-
getting dumped on in October and it not stopping until March. But
Yeah.
I feel like lately it started in like late December, January-ish, and then lasted through like March, April-ish, I feel like.
Apparently,
Yeah,
I was
like-
talking to somebody that it used to be like the same, like it goes in cycles. Like I think they said like every 11 years we'll have like a big winter and then it'll kind of cycle out. And it just seemed like it was that big because we were kids. And so
Okay.
any amount of snow seems like a lot.
Yeah,
you
that
know what I
makes
mean?
sense.
I don't know. I give that a possibility, but maybe it was. I think our winters have definitely been decreasing in like the amount of snow that we've been getting. But
Except the last two.
yeah,
Last
except
year was a lot.
last year was insane.
Yeah, last year was unheard of, and I mean, I even saw the footages for this year, and almost everywhere was above normal. I think everybody got kind of scared from the lack that we had in November and December, but we got the last few weeks we've gotten pounded by a couple.
Yeah,
good
we're gonna
storms.
keep getting it
It
on and
just
off. I
melts
think.
fast.
Yeah.
especially in the valley, which
Yeah.
I don't mind if it melts in the valley. I would like it to stay in the mountains as long as possible.
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
Especially go ahead.
I don't even hate snow unless it's on the road. That's it.
Yeah.
Like as long as you clear the roads good, bring all the snow. As much
I love
snow
it,
as you can.
baby. I love it on the roads, love it everywhere.
Why?
I just can't fly in it right now, so I don't love it that much.
That is one thing that is horrible about Wyoming, is that they're just not great at plowing their roads.
They just don't give a shit. They're like, figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, basically, and I mean that stretch of I-80, right? It runs like the whole length of Wyoming, right, from Evanston all the way to I think Cheyenne is the last major city before it gets into Nebraska.
Yeah.
But I mean, that road is constantly shut down for snow, wind, and the way they shut it down is very interesting. Like if it's bad in the Cheyenne Laramie region, they just won't shut it down there. They'll shut it down across the whole entire state. So it could be sunny and whatever in Evanston, and snowy and windy in Laramie, and they'll shut down the whole entire I-80. And the only reason they do that is just so whatever town, if they were to do it the other way, that town would just get bombarded with all the travelers, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they kind of want to control that a little bit.
I mean, when you have a state of, 500,000 people, if that, it's just like, you guys got it? Sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, those small towns can't take because, I mean, I-80 is probably one of the most trafficked interstates in terms of, because, I mean, I-80 starts in, where does it start? It starts in California, doesn't it?
Let's find this out.
California or Oregon, because they've got 3 main interstates that go west to east, and then they've got 4 main interstates that go north to south.
And
Across the US.
isn't the numbering system like how they, like if you knew the numbering system, you can tell just by the name if it's running east or west or north or south?
Yeah, but I don't know the numbering system.
I don't. I've read it like 3 or 4 times and I still forget it.
Okay, so it goes from San Francisco to Patterson, New York. Not
Oh, wow.
sure what that is. So
That's huge.
it literally goes
Coast to
across the
I'm
coast.
telling
Yeah,
you,
coast
they
to
got
coast.
3 across and 4 up and down.
Yeah.
And they go top to bottom, west to east.
That's one of the great things about Utah is that it is so easy to get across the state. Like
Yeah.
I-15 runs right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Nevada, you have I-80 that touches the northern top, right? Runs through Elko and Reno.
And then
And
I-15
then-
gets to Vegas.
And I-15 gets you to Vegas, and everything in the middle is just where they tested all the nuclear bombs, and nobody wants to live there.
Honestly, whenever I leave Utah, it feels so weird. Like the road systems and like everywhere else, you're just like, this is so confusing. How the fuck do people get anywhere?
Yeah, it goes back to that grid system, right? Like you can tell me an address, and as long as I know the city that it's in, I have a decent idea of where it's at. But it's like you go to Texas, it's like, oh, that's on Washington Street, right next to whoever, right? And it's like, where the hell is that?
I think I first got that when I was in it was either Florida or California, and we were got off the airport, and there was Flamingo Avenue or something. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, yeah. You have to remember all the names of the streets rather than just like understanding how the grid system works.
You have to dissect a flamingo to figure out where you're going.
Yeah. You'd have as much luck.
Yeah, right.
Fucking throw some spaghetti at the wall and there's your map, you know?
Did you guys see that thing where I think it was Japan that they had a fungus model its subway system?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's dope.
Yeah, they had it
This
like,
fungus finds the most efficient pathway,
Yeah,
kind of like
ex-
water.
exactly.
That's so sick.
and so it just made the most sense. It was really interesting.
Yeah, like same with mushrooms. I mean, obviously it's all in
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
family, but that's what they use.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I might botch this here, and I might need your help on the Google here, but aren't like fungus and mushrooms like closer to humans than like regular vegetables or something like that?
I've heard
It's some
that.
weird.
Like genetically.
Yeah, it's weird.
Same with monkeys
Well,
and bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas are pretty close to us genetically.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Fun fact of the day: I am a banana.
Your wife's pregnant, gives birth to a banana. What the hell?
It was bound
Same
to happen
genes, bro.
eventually.
I was listening to Jordan Peterson the other day. He's talking about mice, and you know how they say everyone's got you've got junk DNA that they
Yeah.
don't know what it does or whatever. They were doing an experiment on mice, so they bred a bunch of blind mice, and then kept breeding the blind mice, and after 3 or 4 generations, they figured the junk DNA fixed their DNA and made them so they could see again. It was really interesting.
What?
Interesting.
So after a few generations, they got their eyesight back.
Dude, evolution is an
Fun.
insane thing, insane
That's so
scientific
cool.
theory. Like it's crazy. I don't know.
Just so interesting.
We share 50% of our DNA with fungus.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say bananas.
No, I'm trying to look up the banana one. 60% with bananas.
Aha! Closer to bananas than a fungus.
That's crazy. Is
Yeah.
that most fruit, or is banana just a?
I think it's just bananas.
I read a book one time. It's a fantasy book, but they figured the reason that everything's DNA was so close to humans on Earth, is a sci-fi book, is so that if humans ever went extinct, everything on Earth had the possibility to evolve into a human again.
Interesting.
Oh,
It's
that's a
really
cool
interesting,
thought.
cool book. So if anything survived, humans would end up back on Earth. It was really interesting.
Weird.
But chimpanzees and bonobos are definitely the most closely related.
How close?
It's not giving me a
Too
percent.
close.
Yeah, probably too close.
Yeah. Evolution.
Too close
baby.
for comfort, anyways. It's gonna be like 80 or something. It's gonna be like, oof.
Yeah. Did you guys see how they've seen like city lights on another planet recently?
I heard about that.
I
Really?
did hear about it.
Is it?
Pretty weird.
Do they call it city lights, or is it just like unnatural lighting? Probably, right?
They've been calling it city lights.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
96%.
That's too close.
What the hell?
They said almost 99% identical.
So why are they dumb?
They're missing the.
They're not. They've started using tools.
Well, yeah, but they're not
They've
us.
been using
they're not.
tools, bruv.
Wasn't like the first thing, like if you give monkeys money, like the first thing they do is start paying for sex. Because that's like one of the first things they
Yeah.
do.
That's awesome.
I've never heard of that. That's wild.
I saw that and it was like,
I mean, same, right? It's not what humans do.
Chimpanzees are fucking brutal creatures, though. They're
Oh.
disgusting.
they're mean too.
Yeah, they're terrible.
fuck
So
you
are
up.
humans. Like
Well,
we just
yeah.
don't. We just don't have a National Geographic for humans, or at least
yeah,
not.
it's called World War II.
I'm sure National Geographic does stuff with humans, but like, they don't go into war zones and like, oh, this is what we're doing. This
I
is
mean,
what causes PTSD because
watching
of what
us
they
have
see
sex.
themselves do. Yeah,
Kind of, because we have TikTok. All the wars are being
True.
literally live
I
streamed.
was just about to say the Ukraine war, I think, has been crazy just because of the amount of footage that's come out of it, right?
Even
Yeah.
Israel and Hamas.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's like,
If you guys
Yeah.
want to listen to a really cool one about armies, I think it's about World War One. I think it's called The Great War by Dan Carlisle, something like that. Really interesting. It's just he reads people's diaries and goes through like why World War One was so crazy to everybody back in the day.
now that would be wild.
He has it's reading a journal of someone talking about how when the Germans came in with wearing gray for camouflage, how that was like revolutionary because no one had ever worn camouflage before.
You know what else was the minigun,
Yeah, he talks
the machine
about
gun.
them killing because the French were riding at them on horses, like charging them, and they had miniguns and were just killing the fuck out of them, just mowing them
Good
down.
Lord.
It's really interesting.
World War One was aggressive to the whole world because it's death like the world had never seen since like Genghis Khan. You know.
Yeah.
That I would 10 out of 10 recommend that one. So interesting.
By the way, I think it was estimated he killed like 30 million people or
Oh,
something.
it's insane.
Like
How do you spell
10% of the population of the
Genghis, is
Earth.
that what you're
Genghis. Yeah.
Gen?
I think it's a
Something.
K, isn't it?
Is it?
That's what I
Genghis
thought.
Khan.
I know it's spelled like weirdly.
I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
I dropped out of the spelling bee when I misspelled guitar in the 7th grade. So
Guitar.
don't we all share DNA with Genghis Khan?
A lot of people do.
A lot of people,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, talk about brutal.
He was
Right.
a prolific breeder.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an interesting that's the nicest politically correct way to put that, I think.
That's Dan Carlin, Hardcore History, if anybody wants that. Very interesting.
I've listened to some of his stuff. It was badass.
He does a lot of stuff that like gets into the nitty gritty of it.
Goes into a
Very
deep
interesting.
dive of what actually happened and with stuff.
crazy.
It's pretty cool. I think he's subscription based now, isn't he?
I don't know. I know I was able to listen to that one for free, but now you had to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it'd be so interesting if we had the same technology we do now back then, just in terms of like filming and broadcasting.
Yeah.
Right. I think just how much more information
We may
would
have,
gotten.
but the Library of Alexandria
Oh.
burned down.
R.I.P.
It was estimated that set the human race back 1,000 years.
No shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was that.
like ridiculous amounts.
All right, the
And
numbers
then-
are 400 million people he killed. 11% of the world's population.
There you go.
That's insane.
See, yeah, he has a series on Genghis Khan. It's called Wrath of the Khans.
Oh.
Very interesting.
And let's see how many people are related to him.
Back to that.
probably like 2 billion, I bet.
It's got to be. I would say at least 50.
I thought it was like 1% of the world or something.
Oh, that's it.
That's a lot.
Well, true.
16 million descendants.
Oh my lord.
That's probably about 1%
That's a legacy right
or
there.
less.
Yep.
Looking up percent.
Guess.
It's probably a little less than
Says the
1%.
International Group of Genetic Studies, blah blah blah, found that 8% of the men living in the region of former Mongolia carry his genetics.
That's so crazy.
Okay, so only 0.5% of the
Still.
whole of the world of males.
That's a lot.
That's so
Yeah,
much.
of males.
That's a lot.
From a single person, that's gnarly.
Well, did they have the largest empire? Am I remembering that, or was it? I know it's up there. It might not be the largest.
That
but
one or the
it's-
Romans?
I thought
Yeah.
it was Alex.
That
Actually,
joke's
no. I
really
think the
great.
British Empire was the largest
Oh,
empire.
true.
They did have the sun never sets on the British Empire for
Yep.
a while,
Yeah.
which that's so freaking cool.
Well, and it's crazy
It's
how
crazy, but that's cool.
it's crazy how broad that empire was, right? Like, because I think Genghis Khan's empire was like all connected, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like the British Empire, like they own didn't they?
Australia,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, you're right. It's
The
the
biggest
British
island.
British Empire, then Mongolian, then Russian.
Really, Rome's
Wow.
not up there?
Uh-uh.
Like Rome conquered like the known world for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, Rome was huge.
You said 23% of the world's population was British Empire.
That's
That's a lot.
That's
astounding.
decent.
I want to say I read something that's like every 4 days some country celebrates independence from Britain. It's something crazy like that.
Can you guys just think about this? All of our revolutionary history and everything, we were just a colony. We were just one of their colonies
That's crazy.
that was throwing a fit, and they're like, "Hey, let's throw some troops at them," and we're over here like, "Yeah, we won," you know. It's like that meme of the guy who's on the third place pedestal
Yeah,
celebrating like crazy, you know.
Stuff.
USA, USA, and British is just like, we lost that one, boys. Let's go over to our other 50 colonies, you know.
Right. Didn't they invade like India too? And shit
Oh
like
yeah,
that?
they owned India.
That's crazy.
The French owned Vietnam. That's where the Vietnamese language comes from, is French.
really.
Yeah.
So how did all those places get it back? Because like we all know about the American thing, because that's like
Probably
shoved down your throat.
similar
but
stories kind of thing. I would imagine similar stories.
what India just was like, no more, I'm done. And then they
India,
took it
was
back.
that, what's that one guy that, was that pacifist guy, was that him?
Gandhi.
Gandhi, I
I
think.
wanted to
Gandhi
say his
did
name,
that
but
one.
I was
Yeah, he helped with it
unsure.
a lot.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he just like not kill people? And he was just like, don't hurt people.
He's like, I'm going to stay hungry. Stay hard.
Stay hard.
And then they're like, damn, boy. I guess we'll leave.
He's too hungry. We need to leave.
His meditations will take us out.
That's how I'm confused. I'm
But
like,
it worked.
What the hell does that do? Like they just leave?
You'd probably have to dive into all the histories of those different countries.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was
Um,
violent.
Because
Kind of interesting.
Vietnam took on communism, right? So I imagine they probably had conflict with Russia, and Russia probably got it from them somehow, or China, and then they were communists, and then they had North and South Vietnam. They had a civil war. We were in the Vietnam War, and we lost.
L.
Yeah,
Huge
you
L.
can't fight the tree people.
Oh, dude, that jungle warfare is it's
tree
different.
Yeah, it was.
Lorax, I speak for the trees.
Yeah, it was built way different. Can you imagine stepping on some leaves and suddenly you're impaled? Like,
Yeah. That'd be
ow.
fucked. Ow.
And they'd smear shit on the spikes. Like,
That would fuck with you psychologically too. If you were
Yeah.
going into that place and you knew that shit was happening.
that's
you'd be
correct.
It wasn't even that long ago either.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about
It's
it.
like, what, the 50s?
No,
60s?
earlier. I think it's.
Like, Vietnam
Was
War.
the Vietnam War earlier? I thought it was in the.
60s sounds
I thought it was
I'm not
50s or
sure.
60s.
like all the
it-
hippies were
Yeah.
protesting
Oh
the
yeah,
Vietnam
yeah,
War.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
It
That-
was 50s to the 55 to 75.
Yeah,
There you
when
go.
I said earlier,
That's
I meant.
wild.
Sorry, I should have been more specific when I said it earlier. Not
Sooner.
earlier in history, but yeah,
More
sooner.
recent.
Yeah, more recent. That's the better way.
So-
Yeah, it was super
Yeah,
recent.
that's where like the saying, right? No, there's no atheists in a foxhole or whatever, because they
Yeah.
crawl through those little tunnels.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's fucking gnarly.
Yeah, I think war and prison are probably the two things that make a man the most religious.
Yeah,
I
Probably.
I would bet.
I always look at Russia and wonder how the fuck like
Nobody wants Siberia, bro.
that place. It's huge though. Russia is massive.
It is. And they don't have, well, I'd say they don't have that many people there.
Oh,
But
okay.
In
That-
terms of
in
comparing
terms of land
mass,
mass, yeah.
that's what I'm wondering. Like what their population
Like,
is.
it's not
'cause, like,
super dense.
If it was
It's
dense and that big, we'd all be fucked. Place
mean,
is massive.
China.
China's not even as big as Russia though.
China's still huge.
It's huge. But you got to think in Russia, like all that northern country, like that's unlivable. Basically, like
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
Siberia is, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all northern Russia. Like
And, like,
They have
most
so
of
much
Canada.
cool shit in Siberia.
Is it just like Alaska but big?
no, I think it's
That's
like
worse.
frozen just all the
just
time.
it's like just cold as shit.
Yeah,
Way too.
like I don't think they really.
Their
have
their
a s-
permafrost is like more than 20 feet thick, I believe.
Yeah.
It's
No bueno.
Huge. The ground's just frozen.
Have you guys ever been to Russia or anywhere like?
No.
No.
I wish.
No.
I would go.
Yeah,
I
it'd
don't
be
know
cool.
that I want to go.
Not right now.
Not right now, no. Like,
Well, not right now, but just go see Moscow would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah,
cool.
they do got that big. What's that cool building they got over there? The
Is it one we were talking about earlier? The Kremlin or the
no,
not
it's
the
like
Taj
the big
Mahal.
colorful. No, that's in
the big color.
India, isn't it? Taj Mahal?
Is it that
Oh,
one
yeah,
that
that's
looks like candy?
Yeah.
Like the gingerbread?
Oh, it was the other one we were talking about right around when we talked about the Kremlin.
I don't know, but
it's
that would
like
be cool
super
to see.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Galtron Printing just joined. Welcome. We were talking about you earlier.
What up?
All good things.
What's up, bro? I think it'd be cool to visit North Korea. Like, take the guided tour. I would actually like to do that one day.
Really?
Yeah.
I have a picture of it, but it's not telling me what it's called.
Have you guys heard of like the mud
But, like,
flow
that
up in
would be so
Siberia
cool.
where they've discovered like hundreds of mammoth skeletons and all sorts of crazy shit?
Bro, mammoths are coming back this year, too.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
saw that.
Genetically, like, reviving them or something.
Yeah.
Now that would be cool.
Yeah, let's make Jurassic Park. It's about time.
Yeah. Maybe.
You're right. China has a bigger population than Russia.
Okay, so their cathedral.
Yeah,
Way
dude,
bigger.
China's huge.
Russia has a very small population
That's a-
compared to its landmass. China is super
Yeah.
people dense, and India has a similar population to China, and it's like a quarter of the size of China.
Yeah, it's 1.4.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, that's like
India's
about
If
one-
India
1.5
could get their
billion.
shit together,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
wild.
India?
yeah.
Yeah.
If they had an organization over there and like they had a good infrastructure, they would, they would. I mean, they already are up there a little bit, but
They're getting there.
I mean, what's their government like? Like, it seems like
I'm not sure.
you never really
Yeah.
hear
I
anything
think it's
about
the same
India.
style as we've got. I mean, obviously different, but I think-
Inconsequential.
Kind of.
Yeah, I feel like they definitely just get thrown around in terms of they're never going to be one that's fighting the war. I guess if that makes sense.
they'll
Well, they're not a superpower.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Not
That's what I
yet,
mean,
but
it's
with a
like-
billion people, like how far off are you really?
It's not a wealthy country though. Like,
Yeah.
Indians are wealthy as shit.
Put some of them, but
I don't know if their
there's
country
in
is
America,
specific,
poor
but
Yeah.
side too.
yeah.
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 My dad's been to India. I'll have to ask him about it.
Is India our ally?
Yes, I want to say yes.
I can't remember. I
I
feel
see-
like they are.
You guys ever seen like the street food cooking in India?
Oh,
Oh, it's so disgusting.
yeah.
They're just sticking their hands all in
Yeah,
your food.
yeah.
And they just, oh my gosh, it gives me sick out, dude.
It's
It's just like,
Have you guys ever eaten like crickets? Like
No,
like,
hell no.
No.
Nope.
Nope,
I
not
would,
a
though.
chance.
I would totally do that.
I think I could try a cricket, but I'm sure there's other things that they have out there that I'm just like, no, thank you.
Would you try a tarantula?
See, that's literally what came
Yeah.
to my mind when I was like, that might be.
Dude, I would eat a scorpion. I would eat a lot of
they
things.
got all
but I
their
don't
little
think I would eat
fucking
a
hairs
tarantula.
all over it and
Yeah.
everything
Oh,
still.
dude, I know.
Ugh.
Imagine getting a tarantula hair stuck in your teeth.
Oh,
I would try the tarantula leg, like in a,
yeah.
I've heard
I don't know, in a salad or something.
I've heard they're
But
pretty good.
yeah, not the body. I don't want its fucking juices all over my
Ugh,
mouth.
It's so disgusting. Fucking gag on right now.
Yeah, that street cooking though it's I don't know, it just seems such more prominent in some places where it's like
Yeah.
here in Salt Lake and probably a lot of places like yeah, we have food trucks,
Yeah.
but we don't have like the I don't know if shack's the right word, but
Like food stands.
food stands. Yeah. And it's just like of all types of food, right?
Yeah.
I feel
It's just
like,
different standards of
cheap.
living.
yeah.
Well, my parents love watching those cooking videos. India's disgusting, but yeah, they go to like Vietnam and stuff. They're
Yeah.
pretty clean,
Bless
and
you.
that'd be awesome to have.
Oh,
here.
yeah.
It's so cool. But if they're clean, you know.
and such good food too. Or
Yeah.
it's
And it's cheap, you know. It's
Yeah.
just cheap, good food, but it's clean there. India, it was disgusting. It's hard to watch. They're sticking their hands all over in your food and shit.
Yeah.
No gloves.
and usually here you're just paying a lot of money for some microplastics. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Pros and cons, really.
Hey, it's
those
just-
plastics taste good. Okay.
Those plastics
Taco
taste
Bell,
damn good.
sign me up every time.
Dude.
I
Yeah.
know they always try to get you to like watch the video of how it's made. I'll watch it. I'm still gonna eat it,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Hot dogs are disgusting.
That is actually one thing I won't eat anymore.
Is a hot dog?
I don't
I'll
eat
fuck
hot
up a
dogs.
hot
I
dog.
love
still.
hot
They're
dogs.
so good.
You just put that out of your mind.
I
What
just
about
don't-
you?
I don't like the taste that much. I'm like,
Really? Dude,
Yeah.
hot dog and chili up camping? Whoa.
just like a
A little bit of mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That's so good.
Makes me
Now,
rowdy.
brats.
That's what I was going
brats
to ask
is a
him.
different story.
Okay,
That's
because
a
it's
whole
totally
game.
different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, real beef.
Yeah.
Hot dogs are a different story too. So good.
Have you guys ever been to? I actually just went today. It's called Siegfried's. It's a German
Yes.
deli downtown.
It's good.
Many a time.
Amazing. Shout out.
I'm not a
Siegfried's.
huge fan.
You don't like it?
Siegfried's.
No? You don't like it?
I'm not a huge fan.
Do you like German food?
No, not
Okay,
really.
So
I think it's good.
you don't mind Siegfried's, but you don't like German food.
Nah, not really. I mean, the only German food I've had is like Oktoberfest
That's true.
and Siegfried's.
What was
so.
that? Was it Bohemian, Logan? That place that we were talking about the other day?
Yeah, we call it Boheim, but it
Boheim,
was Bohemian.
Bohemian's good.
The brewery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
they have
good.
food. I love that place.
Their
it's
garlic
German
burger
food,
and garlic
so-
fries.
Yeah, I get a hamburger. You know, I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah, they still have good food outside of German.
Yeah.
The German food for sure.
They have pizza there too. It was decent.
Are you a brat fan, Noah?
I like brats.
Yeah. Just not like the traditional German stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Americanized where you got
Yeah.
that cheddar or jalapeno in there.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's the German style? Like, what else besides brats is a German food and pretzels?
Like the
Sauerkraut.
Wiener
Pierogies.
Schnitzel.
The German ones taste like they've been refined less, so they're kind of more gristly.
gristly.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
do like their side dishes are
Like-
very
Rough
much
word.
German too.
Because like I
The
can't.
brats themselves are fairly good.
Sauerkraut's fucking nasty.
It's like potato
I love
sauerkraut. and then-
sauerkraut.
yeah, it's all of it together. It's really good,
thanks.
actually.
Try some haggis.
I don't even know
I
what that
have.
is.
Haggis ain't that bad.
I didn't want to try it when I was there. I was like, nope. I'm
Bro.
not eating that,
What
bro.
is it?
Come on.
Haggis
Yeah.
is like
Sheep intestines.
Oh.
sheep intestines and blood
Pass.
and all sorts of fun stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's pretty tasty.
It's like Scotland's like national food or something like that.
Yeah.
So you missed this conversation, Noah, but where I was asking these guys, if they'd eat crickets and stuff, and from like the food stands in other countries,
Fuck it, sure.
where would you stop though? Like tarantula, scorpion.
I don't really want to eat penis or balls.
Okay. Fair.
Probably not anus. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'm sure
It is.
But most everything else I'd probably try.
Rocky Mountain oysters. No.
That's
I just
balls.
Really,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really have a desire for that. no.
I don't either.
Have you seen the live fish? Like they put it in this like kind of salad, this liquid salad. Throw a little baby fish in it that's flopping around. Suck it down.
Ew.
I've seen someone put a goldfish in a beer and shotgun it.
Oh hell yeah!
Real life or in a video?
Video. I've seen someone do it with an egg, but that doesn't count.
That's disgusting.
Muscle
That's
shooters,
gross.
baby.
Muscle shooters are fucking delicious. I love
There's
them.
a raw egg in that, dog.
Yeah, that's different. That's
No, they're
way different.
disgusting.
It's a
Just-
quail egg.
No.
yeah, exactly. No, it's just like imagine sucking down like a folk, just cracking it and like sucking it down.
Dude, there's
Fucking
a-
bug.
yeah, exactly.
There's a Filipinese type food. It's like beluga, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a
Bologna?
no fried bologna though. Not bad, but it's like a fertilized duck egg, and before it grows feathers,
Shit's fucked.
they boil it and then eat it.
That's
Yeah.
disgusting.
That's
You eat like a baby duck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
Nah.
crack.
Yeah. No, I don't
Yeah.
want that. I don't want that.
I'm not doing that.
Smash or pass?
Pass.
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 Might smash.
It's just gonna turn this
I might
into
try it.
random ass foods that we would or wouldn't eat.
Well, I mean, I've eaten blood cubes.
Is that
That's a thing.
just cubes of blood?
It's
Is that-
coagulated pig's
okay.
blood
Why?
so
in
disgusting.
cubes that they'll put in soups.
Why?
It's
though?
not that good.
Yeah.
It's part of the soup. I don't know. It's good for iron, I guess.
No.
But
yeah, no.
I just no.
you see, the flavor's not that good, and the texture is
not great
less than
either, I'm guessing.
desirable. Yeah,
Eating coagulated blood doesn't sound very fun to me.
it's not the greatest. Yeah.
Oh, I know this guy. I actually work with him. He eats liver. He just
Isn't-
chops it up and just swallows it
Is
down.
that the Liver King? Or what?
no. He's just a dude.
Isn't liver like really like?
A lot of people love
He
it.
said
Yeah.
it's high, like super, has a bunch of super good stuff in it.
It does.
Same with raw fish with honey. That's a popular thing.
I just eat sushi.
Have you
Well,
guys
yeah,
ever
but-
watched the greatest
It looks good.
ever food review show or whatever on YouTube? This guy just goes and finds like all the weird tribes all over the world and eats their food.
Bro, bizarre foods.
He was like a big fan of that. So he
Oh,
was-
okay. Hell yeah.
But he went somewhere, and one of their favorite things to do is they kill an animal, and the people that butcher it, they cut up the liver right off, and then they dip it in its stomach acid and eat it, and they love it.
What?
You see, now that's fucked because bile does not taste good.
No, but they love it. It's
Dude,
so
those-
gross to watch.
You know,
tribes.
I'd try it.
You are just trying everything.
I am an open person with food.
That
Yeah,
guy's
but there's
so
got to be a
wicked.
point to where you're going to get infected. You don't know.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
get
And that's
sick,
disgusting. You just
Could
don't
happen.
do that.
I mean, a couple hours of puking might be worth it. To say I've done that.
No. Fuck. No, dude.
How many times have you gotten drunk?
Enough? Why?
A couple hours of puking to say you've done that.
Why are you
Like,
trying to
fuck
put
it?
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, why are you trying to put a number on that, man? Come on.
It's attacking America. At this
Those
point.
those tribes though that haven't encountered like civilization is crazy. Like how there's just still people out there living in the jungle.
Yeah, the
surviving.
Sentinels.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the Sentinel Island? Right?
Yeah.
Where they now have metal because they killed the people and got on their boat and got the metal.
I'm not sure.
I didn't know that. That's wild.
I know they killed people though.
Yeah, they like don't allow anybody on
Yeah.
their island. But even like in the Amazon and stuff, isn't there still tribes that live off the land and all
I'm
that?
sure. Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
I just saw something
There's
that they.
so much shit in the
Oh
Amazon.
yeah,
I've got a book for you.
really.
Yeah, on that.
You got a book for everything too.
It's the book
I
doctor.
read a lot.
When you drive back and forth for work, do you listen just all day, every day?
Yeah, not always to books. Sometimes it's podcasts
Yeah.
like Tim Pool, you know.
Nice.
But yeah,
I did read that they just found like a huge connection of cities in the Amazon that they never knew was there before.
Yep.
Because apparently they're doing a huge archaeological study in the Amazon, finding all
Yep.
those old cities and
it's called LiDAR,
yeah.
where they don't have to disturb anything. It can detect structures and stuff through the rainforest.
Eagle vision.
Yes, exactly.
It's really fucking up the whole like time period, or I guess how we understand history, or what the
Yeah.
mainstream
fucking
understanding of
up
history
everything.
is. Yeah, it's
I
bad.
love it.
Well, it's good. It's not bad. It's good.
Like, you know, the Bible or Book of Mormon, the first humans were 7,000 years ago is what it was portrayed as.
Yeah.
And then they discovered 10,000, and then they discovered 30,000, then they discovered up to 100,000.
Yeah.
It's just like, fuck. And then, so the best predictions they have right now, like the cutting edge sciences that Joe Rogan's having on his podcast and stuff.
I was
is-
just about yeah.
yeah, I fucking love it, dude. Graham Hancock.
And,
that book that I was talking about is by Graham Hancock.
Oh, I just started. I started it, but I need to get back into it. His first book, The Fingerprints of the Gods.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just get back into it. But keep going.
But anyway, him and this other guy, I forget his name, but he's a badass too. Talking about, so Graham Hancock is more into the ancient civilizations thing, and this other guy is into the Younger Dryas theory.
It's Carlson something. I want to say it's
The
Hold
Younger
on.
Dryas guy, Joe Rogan talks about
going.
all the time.
Yeah, because it's fascinating as hell.
It's interesting.
So the best theory is that they had a meteor or some catastrophic event that happened to the Earth about 13,000 years ago until about 11,000 years ago.
Randall Carlson.
Randall Carlson, thank you. Yeah, him and Graham Hancock are just like a fucking super duo with world history. So they have this cataclysmic event that happened that melted the ice age, caused great floods in the times of Noah, and you know that they're talking about, and they approach these great ancient works, written works, we'll say, as like a forewarning for future civilizations of what can happen, what will happen, because the Earth goes through periods, right? And
Right.
we're these periods of time where it's basically harvest and famine kind of things, as far as the human race goes. And so they've got these skeletons that are up to 100,000 years old now. They're like, holy fuck, what happened before that? How advanced were the civilizations, things like that? Because you think about it, take everything in civilization we have now and go forward 10,000 years, what will be left? Not shit.
Nothing.
Dust, right? So it's just fascinating. Maybe there's some ancient artifacts. Maybe there's calcified bones, whatever. Some burial grounds that they might find, but it's just crazy the amount of stuff they're finding that is just exponentially older and older and older.
So it's kind of the thought that it's like a lot. The world goes through cycles. Like we
Yeah.
build up to a certain amount of like intelligence, and then just get wiped out. and
Correct.
do it all over again.
Yeah, and there's oh my god, there's so many writings and cool shit about these godlike beings in the writings that is just fucking fascinating, because then they would come and teach civilization. It was like people who survived these cataclysms taught the new civilizations how to survive and farm and things like that. It's just fucking cool.
Apparently, that's what the Sumerians?
Yeah, I know what you're talking.
Yeah. They're supposed to be something like that. Like
They come down from wherever, and they taught everybody everything.
Yeah. And that's their god now.
Yeah. Well, and that Graham Hancock is huge on like the Egyptians, right? Because he's like there was a ancient civilization, right, and that's how they built the Great Pyramids. And he focuses a lot on, we went very much down the industrial way, right, of gas powered things and fossil fuels and everything, but. They could have gone down a different path. A big part, like vibration's a big part of that, and sound waves and a lot of the stuff that Tesla was getting into. Not Tesla, Elon Musk, but Nikola. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So it's just crazy to listen to that, and then people called him crazy when he was first talking about it, and then he's just getting proven right more and more as time goes on.
And one of the ways they discovered these more ancient people is they had a burial site that was like 10,000, 13,000 years old. And then they just dug deeper and found more. Yeah, so because sediment settles over the years.
We're just building on top of it.
And they were thinking the guy was fucking nuts when he started digging below the burial site, and then they found another burial site that was this many thousands of years older. Just
That's wild.
Crazy.
Well, and they think that Younger Dryas wipeout period was also a big factor in killing the mammoths. Or like what we were talking about earlier, how they're coming back.
Part of that Siberian mud flow.
Yeah. Yeah, have you guys seen that one on Rogan, the Alaskan boneyard? Have you seen it? Oh, dude, it is insane. Like he has thousands of fossilized bones, or I don't know if fossilized bones if the right word, or just bones of mammoths and everything where they shouldn't be. Yep. Right, and it's like evidence of just a mass kill off, right? And it's like, yeah, the humans definitely hunted mammoths, but to kill them to extinction, like that's a big.
Yeah,
it's a big task.
I heard someone talking about this the other day, so I don't know like how real it is. But some dude was like, "There's no way humans were killing mammoths because they had like 6 to 10 foot tusks, and they figure they had like an 8-inch hide. Like there's no way they were getting through it with spears." No, I just thought that was an interesting take on it.
Yeah, I don't think we killed them off, but I know that there was like hunting techniques where they would like drive them to cliffs and they would just fall off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like,
there's also planting of spears, and you let the thing run into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Humans are crafty. But like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think he was specifically poking at like throwing spears at a mammoth. Like, are you really doing anything to a mammoth that way? I mean, maybe long term, but immediately.
Probably not.
Seems kind of iffy. I just thought that was an interesting take on it.
Yeah. I've also heard that the pyramids were like some kind of energy conductor back in the day.
That's a cool theory. I like that. Yeah, because they're like there's no way the pyramid was built as just a burial.
Yeah.
A burial ground, right? Like they don't. I don't know if there's. I think the evidence for that is small, but it's weird because apparently the Egyptian historians are very tight knit. Like they don't like outsiders coming in. They don't like people going in and discovering other things or coming to their own conclusions, right? Like they like to control the narrative.
Yeah.
Very much like our media.
Yeah.
But no, like they like, this is our history. Don't fuck with it.
Apparently somebody just made up the kings that it's for the tombs, like for kings. Somebody,
because they didn't find any tombs in the pyramids.
Yeah, they just said, "Oh, I think that's what it is," and that became the story. And apparently inside the actual pyramids, there's like no hieroglyphs or anything like that. It's just like a different kind of structure. And plus, just a plug for Assassin's Creed Origins. If you want to like go play in ancient Egypt, it's fucking dope.
Well, another big Graham Hancock thing is like inside the pyramid, there's like huge granite construction.
Yeah.
And they have a decent theory of how the pyramid was built in terms of rocks and building all that, but the granite slabs that are in there are insane, and how precision cut they were and everything like that.
How far they had to take them because they're like from the mountains, like clear away.
But also we have no idea what that place looked like. I guess I mean, we have an idea, right? But apparently it was much more fertile. It wasn't a desert.
I mean, the Sphinx has water erosion that's similar to a rainforest.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, don't they say that the head of the Sphinx isn't the original head, right?
That's correct.
Because the body of the Sphinx has more erosion than the head, I think, or something like that.
They theorize it was a lion head originally.
Really?
Like a big little lion head. And, that's some cool stuff.
Speaking of things changing, do you guys ever watch Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot fucking stand him. I hate him so bad. He always talks like everything is 100% fact, yet like 20 years ago, some shit he probably was talking about is just false. It drives me nuts.
Is that the space guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I do not like him at
He's
all.
self-important.
Yeah, he is very much.
He's always
Yeah.
he talks about like elements and stuff. This is all the elements there will ever be, and this is it. And I was like, bullshit, dude. Someone's gonna make something new, and you're gonna look like an idiot. Quit saying shit like that.
He is annoying, but he is probably very smart, actually.
Oh, he's an astrophysicist.
He's
yeah.
probably smart.
He
I
definitely knows
just-
some shit.
He knows some
He speaks
shit.
with confidence about things that you're like, well, okay, but that's how it wasn't 100 years ago. It wasn't like that. So what do you?
I don't know. I've listened to him on podcasts and stuff, and he interrupts a lot.
I can't
He
stand
does.
him. I
very-
cannot stand him.
Very self-important that way. So I'm like, nah.
Oh, that's like Bill Nye. Kind of did the same thing.
Didn't they? You brought up elements. Didn't they just synthesize like element? Is it 451 or whatever? Bob Lazar's
115?
Yeah. Didn't they just like synthesize that or something like that?
I don't know.
Bob Lazar is also a very interesting person, right? Because he's never changed his story over the last
20 years.
20
or so.
years or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah. And then with all the UFO stuff coming out now, I mean, that's one of Neil's biggest claims to there not being UFOs is that with all this technology we have, people would have it on camera, right? But I want to say there's been some stuff that came out on camera. I mean, Congress was just doing a whole big thing last year, it seemed like, where they were reviewing.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff on camera
Yeah, now.
that
Yeah.
you just don't
It's just
can't
what's
explain.
real.
Like, what is it?
Yeah. Or if it's even real or photoshopped in. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
just
getting
don't
way
know.
good at that,
There's
too.
so much you don't know. So that's what when people talk like with authority that they know this was it.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 years ago, it's like really? Like, do you really?
Yeah.
Because things change so rapidly. I mean, even now, that doesn't seem reasonable to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like the Amazon stuff we were talking about, like 10 years ago, if you said, oh, yeah, there was a huge civilization in the Amazon, there's a bunch of cities in there that we don't know about, people will just laugh at you.
Yeah.
Right? And they'd be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, man.
I mean, they're looking for Atlantis.
Okay, that one is weird because
That's dope.
it's a story, though.
It's a myth.
It's a
No,
myth,
they-
but
There's
They
a
have,
lot of correlation in
um,
real life.
who was
it's
it?
real.
One of the ancient Greek philosophers talks about visiting there.
in a
Plato.
story,
Is it in a
I
story?
think it's
it's
Plato.
just a story he created. Like he was
I
talking.
wasn't sure. I just know.
Yeah, I don't know, like way too deep into it. Maybe it could be a real thing, but like
Well, I think that's the argument, right? Kind of back to what Noah was saying earlier about these ancient stories, right? Are they just stories, or are they talking about? I'm sure there's some type of elements that they not fantasize, but kind of make it more story.
Embellish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the land masses of Atlantis that's explained in the story, they have it in real life.
On old maps.
Yeah.
really,
Well, don't a lot of people think? Well, isn't there a theory? I guess that it's the what is it? The Eye of the Sahara, or what's that?
Oh, yeah. I've heard of the Eye of the Sahara.
Yeah, it's in Africa, I think, and you can see it from. I can't remember what it's called, but you can see it from space, and it's like this giant. It looks like an eye from space.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the story of, I think it's from Plato, the story of Atlantis, how it just got engulfed by whether it be a flood or I don't know the story, so probably shouldn't be talking too much about it, but but apparently it disappeared, right? And probably one of these cataclysmic events is kind of what Graham Hancock goes down, and there's other people that obviously focus more on Atlantis, but
either way, it looks fucking cool.
oh yeah, are you looking at the eye right now? Yeah.
Looking at the pictures.
I mean, it's so cool. There's just so much we don't know. You just don't know.
Well, and I think a lot of people, I think that scares them almost, right? Like not knowing.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the religious talk that we were talking about much earlier, where God or religion, I guess, not really God, but religion gives people a sense of knowing. Is that what you were kind of saying earlier, Noah? Like gives people a sense of like God will have it, like, and then
It's more a sense of not having to take accountability for what happens in their lives. At the deepest level, on the higher level, it's God will provide, God will
Yeah.
take care of everything. But at the deepest level, it's like, if He's not there, what the fuck do I do? You know?
yeah.
And that's gonna be it for a lot of people. But then there's others just like, that's the way it's, that's wholeheartedly what they do, and that's everything is in furtherance of that greatness, which I think is badass.
Interesting. I think I heard something the other day where the only the government has, this is just what I heard, I'm not saying this, but they have like real proof that UFOs exist or life exists outside this planet. But one of the biggest reasons that they are not going to release that yet or whatever is because it would destroy all the religion in the world. Mainly Christianity, right? Where it's saying like, hey, we're X years old, God created Earth, whatever it may say, right? But if all of a sudden there's life in in space, it's like that kind of almost disproves that theory, I guess.
know.
God's the one and only.
Exactly.
This is a bit off topic, but if you and I can imagine and make stories about that, God could clearly do that, right?
Yeah.
Which I saw someone talking about, which I think is very interesting, is like why we keep finding older and older things, but the Bible says that it's 2,000 years old or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Says it's built in with history. Like evolution or something is something that God built into everybody on Earth, right? So and I found that interesting because, like, you and I could do that. We could make up 1,000,000 years of backstory. Yeah. Like, what? It doesn't. It's not far fetched to think that God could do it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I went to Catholic high school, and when I took AP U.S. history, like one of the first few classes, the teacher had the conversation of, "Hey, I'm Catholic, and I believe in, the history and evolution and everything like that."
Yeah.
So it's just a different kind of what you're saying, Jesse, like a different type of belief, I guess, if that makes sense.
They're not exclusive, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, yeah.
What if there's multiple gods and different, like, solar systems have different gods, and they're kind of on this whole different frequency, and they're just like, this is your, like, area of creativity, and then they get to create whatever the fuck they want.
That's
I've got a
kind
good
of
book
like
for
what
ya.
the Mormon thing is, right? Is you can become your own god, right? That is
Yeah.
a part of being a Mormon.
But why is there the one and only God, though, if you can be one too?
I don't know. Just don't know.
I don't know either.
It's an interesting thought for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the basis of it, it's just like ultimately, say there was a God, what he or what it would do is probably create it such that your human brain could understand. That is why we have good and evil, hot and cold.
Interesting.
It's all this shit that's just like our earthly experience is going to be entirely different than the celestial experience because it is all based around what we compute through. We compute through our mind and our soul.
Yeah.
And our mind is our main computer, and it has a duality with everything. There has to be dark to know the light, And so it's just like it's no wonder that there would be texts written for the human mind in scriptures and things like that, so that you could understand it or at least begin to comprehend the enormity of it all. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a hard time comprehending that, so I couldn't imagine comprehending the whole entirety of everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why, the whole DMT and everything like that, right? It's like people think they're transcending dimensions almost, right?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting concept, I guess.
It's weird. I don't even know. There's so much to that.
Oh, here we go. We got a comment. Golden Scarab Designs, he says, on the God thing, the way I understand it is there are other gods, but we only need to worry about our God. He's our Father, so we should respect our Father, listen to only Him.
That's a good answer. I like that.
And that's exactly the way it's written, right? Or we'll say that's exactly the way it's most commonly interpreted.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think it goes back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like if you found something that gives you meaning in life and lets you or teaches you to live your life morally good, like I don't think anybody should really fuck with that, right?
No.
It's like, hey, this guy's on his own path. He's doing what he wants, and as long as he's not harming others, which that's a hard thing to define. But why mess with, to each his own, kind of, right?
Yeah.
That's another interesting thing. I think like every civilization, even when they're not contacted with each other, every human's come up with the idea of like a soul or a spirit.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like it's so intrinsic to being a human is knowing that you have something outside of your body, kind of. It's very interesting.
That there's something else out there. That's crazy.
I mean, there's three main areas of life, It's the mental, the spiritual, and the physical.
Right, and no one ever debates that, which is very interesting. Everybody knows you've got a soul or your spirit or something's there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's definitely people that debate the once you're dead, You don't have a
Yeah.
soul. You know, it's like
Right.
we are just a organism on this earth, and when you die, it's nothing. Right.
But as you're living,
Yeah.
people don't argue like you and I have a soul. That's kind of like a thing people accept.
I would agree.
They argue where the soul goes after.
Yeah, like maybe your soul dies
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
To exist or go to a different plane.
yeah.
So would you guys say you're more do you guys say spirituality and religion are separate then?
Yeah,
That's kind of a big
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd think so.
for sure.
You can have one with the other, I think.
Yeah. They can be different, but
But,
if they
I
can
mean,
be one too. I
Yeah,
guess.
religion is humans' way of trying to build up and reach God. That's their
Okay.
Tower of Babel, as it were.
Okay.
And then spirituality is more the individual's connection. So they're not mutually
Oh,
exclusive
interesting.
necessarily.
Yeah.
But do you think you can have one without the other? Because you can't have religion without spirituality, but you can have spirituality without religion.
It depends. Like you could have not organized religion.
You
right?
can have a lot of religion with zero spirituality.
That's true.
Think of how many people just go through the motions and just go to church or whatever they're doing, right? It's just,
Yeah, but the whole idea is your soul.
yeah, the whole idea is your eternal soul, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously not a question that it has an answer, I would say, right? But it's very interesting when you start talking about all the religious texts and then what everybody's spirituality is. And, kind of what Jesse was saying earlier, you look at all these religious texts and there's usually conversations about spirituality or the soul and in the three kind of states that Noah was talking about earlier.
And I've yet to read them all, but I actually went and bought. I have a Book of Mormon. I have a Bible. I went and bought the Quran, the Torah, a book on atheism, just like a bunch of stuff that I still need to get to. Some of them, but it's fascinating stuff. Buddhism, Hinduism.
Yeah.
It's just like
Have
And
you
it-
heard of deism?
Deism?
Yeah. Isn't it where, like, they believe in God, they just don't think he gives a shit about you at all?
I've heard that, but I don't know
Potentially,
if
yeah.
that's deism.
I don't know if it's deism, but
And then there's also like practices of the Tao, like the Tao Te Ching, where it's like the Tao is being in and of yourself and being one with God spiritually, but you are in yourself a spiritual being. It's fascinating. There's a lot of takes on it, as it were.
I was listening to one of our uncles talk about it, and he says, because he's very, very, like, religiously Mormon LDS, but he always says, I just don't know, right? Because he doesn't feel like he's got the Holy Spirit or, the priesthood or nothing. So he's always, I don't know. And the reason he doesn't read, like the Quran or things, other religious texts, because he doesn't want to confuse his kids.
Yeah.
Right, because he's been preaching it so hard his whole life, and then to switch over, so he doesn't want to confuse his kids because that can upend like your whole worldview. Yeah, like if that's what you build.
I think
your
that's a
life
good
around.
thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to challenge your perspective, right? There's a good book. It's called I think it's called The Case for Christ or something like that. And it was this journalist who was an atheist or just wasn't very religious, and then all of a sudden his wife became very Christian. I want to say it was some type of Christianity. I want to say. And so because he was a journalist, was like, okay, well, I'm going to go after and see what I can find is true and everything. And the book's about him talking to all these historians and talking about like how these places in the Bible are there, and there is proof that some of these things were true, right? And it's just an interesting book on how I can't remember how it ended, whether he came to where he also was Christian or he was just more accepting of his wife, totally kind of changing her worldview on things and kind of just understanding, okay, like I get that and I can understand you a little bit better now, rather than just kind of like disregarding his wife and, getting a divorce or whatever that may have looked like, right?
I know this is a little bit off topic, but like people that aren't like believe strictly in like evolution. I know there's a pretty famous quote by a guy that I don't know exactly what it says, but he says the first sip of evolutionary science is to be an atheist, but at the bottom of the glass is a belief in God.
Interesting.
It's very, very interesting. Or like this is a quote from Charles Darwin. As he says, the impossibility of conceiving that this grand and wondrous universe with our conscious selves arose through chance seems to me the chief argument for the existence of God. I mean,
Yeah,
that
like,
is the evolution guy.
yeah, like the
very
probability
interesting.
that everything worked out perfectly so that we all could be sitting around this table having this conversation is, so minuscule it's probably not even measurable, right?
Right. It's so interesting. But again, it comes back to you just don't know.
Yeah.
Still, the most fascinating theory that I've heard of is that God didn't create us, our souls. He found us and guided us into being, basically.
That is interesting.
And I think that's religion for some people, right? Is that God is kind of guiding them in their life, right? Not
The shepherd.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah, not planning your destiny or anything like that, but more of just kind of like taking you through what life is, right?
That's a crazy theory.
I think of it more as like a halfway disconnected dad, where you're just like, where, they'll probably have your back in the tough situations, but at the same time, you're your own person, and you make it or break it on your own kind of thing,
I saw an interesting quote the other day where it was like, there's a reason the teacher doesn't talk during the test, kind of talking about religion and God, right? It's like if you feel like you're being pushed or you're struggling right now and you're not getting the answers from God that you want, if you are that religious person, it's maybe you are being tested, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
I've heard that
That's
too.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Are you religious, Logan? Or are you more spiritual? Or are you both? Or what's going on
Or
over there?
neither.
Yeah.
I'd say spiritual, if anything, but
Yeah.
religion don't interest me. My wife is very religious, which I think is a good, like a good backdrop or someone to have a conversation with. But I wouldn't call myself religious by any means.
This might be overstepping, and if we are, we can just move on. But did you guys have that conversation of how you're going to raise your kids and what that looks like?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the side of just let them kind of figure it out and guide them with love and kindness.
Yep.
And she wants to teach them about God, which I'm also not against because at the end of the day, God is a very good figure, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's portrayed to be. So if we can raise them in a godly manner to start out with, where just treat people with love and all that, then that will carry over. And then at some point they will figure out, okay, am I going to continue down the path of believing in that aspect, or kind of just being good with everyone, right?
Yeah, and I'm
I
sure.
think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Raise them how you want. If it's in a religion, then you do it. But when they're old enough, you let them decide what they want.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with that is to not like force kids to do something or like make them think that they don't have a choice. I think that was a big thing for me. It was just like,
Yep.
Yeah, because you got the FUs.
yeah, like if I didn't believe that, then it's like, then you're
not in the family.
worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Fine, I'm not worthy. Fuck you.
yeah, good. I don't want to be worthy. Fuck it.
Yeah, parenting's got to be one of the biggest tests, challenges in
Oh, yeah.
life, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Noah's going through it right now. I mean, you're definitely parenting right now, but you're not to the part where you're going to have to start those conversations.
I'm
I
so
guess.
excited because I've done so much research on all of it.
He's like, I'm ready.
Because I'm a guy who less so recently, but I was the guy who we'll say, and I think it was because I was watching my dad go through what he was going through, but from about 14 to 18 or 20, I was super hard into prepping as if I'm going to die tomorrow.
Oh wow.
And so I would study all these things and try to become the wise man that I wish I had, right? And so I'm just like, I'm fucking ready, baby. Ask me the hard questions. Let's find the answer together,
Let's do it.
How old were you again when your dad was going through that big part of his life?
I think it all started because it started 3 or 4 years before his transplant.
Okay.
By the way, new book drop coming.
That was my next
Yeah.
question. So
Y'all look on Amazon the next few days for Finding the Light by Noah Kelch, and it's gonna be a banger. But there's gonna be some interesting stuff in there. I have no clue what's in it, but I'm fucking excited to read it. Anyway, what was your question? I'm sorry.
you're good. But now I have a different question. So he hasn't shared the writing experience with you guys much in terms of
No.
I've been there
No.
while he was writing it, but we have not read a single ounce of this book.
was that like by choice of him, or is it just kind of
I haven't asked to read it.
okay?
I'm waiting for the finished product,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah,
Dude.
which isn't a bad thing, right?
We should all read it and have him on after
Yeah.
to talk about the book. That would be kind
Well,
of
it'll be
fun.
good because there's so many different perspectives. I mean, there's 6 of us, right, that are just
It's-
in the immediate family, and then Dad's perspective.
It's gonna be a crazy book, and it's wild what occurs in a child's mind to survive through something like that when your parents going through things like that. I imagine it's probably similar to when parents get divorced and one like just disappears out of the picture, right? Where there was times where you're just like, just die already. Serious.
crazy.
It's true.
Because
Yeah, I didn't
it's-
mean to laugh, but
no,
like,
it's because it's constant fucking suffering all the time, and you're watching them come close to death over and over and over. You're just like, my God, get it over with.
Yeah.
So it can stop, you know. And I actually for a number of years, I put it out of my brain. I was like, he's dead, and we'll move on, and we'll figure it out. So when he came back into our lives and started acting like a dad, was able to start acting like a dad again, it was just like, who the fuck are you to do this? You know, there was some beef there, but I imagine more so with the younger kids because I was kind of an adult by the time by the time he came back to roost. But yeah, it was just like
that was my question: was the age? What?
I think
Or I guess
think
year might be
probably
easier.
started around 14
Okay.
up until. No, it had to have been a little younger than that because I'm
Well, I was in
25.
I was in 8th grade when it happened, and you're 3 years older. So what's 8th grade?
Yeah, I was in 11th grade when he got the transplant, but all
Yeah.
through like
Yeah.
the middle of middle school up through then,
Okay.
and then it was years after of recovery too.
Yeah.
So it was just
When
I
did
mean-
you guys buy the bracelets? Do you remember what year that was? Or get all the bracelets?
that was
and
probably
things?
2014 when he went and actually got the transplant.
Okay, that's the earliest I remember that.
Yeah, and it
'Cause
was
we all shaved our heads and things.
yeah, except
Yeah.
me.
Oh, okay.
Fuck 'em.
Yeah.
Hey man, keep your hair as long as you can.
I will.
Exactly.
But there was probably 2, maybe 3 years where it was really bad, right?
Yeah.
Where it was like kind of touch and go, don't know what's gonna happen here, and then there was probably 5 or 6 years where it was like there's deterioration happening, we're not sure, and then the recovery process. So, and I want to say it was probably started around 12 to 14 and ended about 18 to 20 somewhere, maybe 19, but yeah.
And so that would be like 10 to 16 for you, Logan, right? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Old
And
enough
then-
to remember everything.
And then how young? How much? What's the gap between you and Thomas?
He's 16. I'm 22. So
6 years. So he was
yeah,
a baby.
yeah,
Yeah,
was
he
young.
didn't remember most of it,
Okay.
I would imagine.
I feel like he remembers some of it though.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Sure.
And part of that book's kind of him and the spiritual guide or the spiritual quest, or I don't even
Spiritual
know the right
journey
word.
he went
Journey,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, he saw some crazy shit.
Yep.
Yeah, he's told me just some of the shit that he's seen. Just I'm sure you guys know more, but I'm excited to read the book.
He saw my daughter running around the house years before we had her.
See, it's stuff like that where it's like it's hard to not believe in something beyond us, right? Because like your dad's not gonna lie about that.
Nope. He was talking about it. I don't know, a while before we had her.
Wow.
It's like I keep seeing this little girl running around. I don't know who. I can't remember if he knew it was gonna be mine or not, but it was just like, I don't know. But there's this little girl running around. Someone's having one.
We'll have to find out.
I'm sure it'll be in the book.
That might be in the book, but I think it's more about his cancer journey,
Yeah.
and the spiritual stuff that occurred during that time, because it's been since then that
And
he was doing that.
what type of cancer was it?
Isn't it Milo? I don't know.
Myeloplastic anemia.
Dysplastic anemia or something.
Yeah.
Basically,
I
it's a
don't know why
form
I
of
have no idea.
leukemia.
Oh, okay.
It's a form of blood cancer.
Oh,
So his his bone marrow stopped producing blood.
Blood, white blood cells.
All of it.
What was the other one? Something with a P.
Platelets,
Platelets.
everything. So he wouldn't coagulate blood. He would bruise super easy. His gums were always just bleeding.
He couldn't
and his
heal.
tongue and everything.
holy
Every
shit.
orifice having blood.
Damn.
It wasn't good. And he walked into the hospital one time and I think the normal numbers for a guy is like, I don't know, 10 or something. I don't know.
It's higher. I think for the females it's like 15, and then for the men it's closer to 20. I could be wrong.
Either way, he walked, and this is like amount of blood and all that, and platelets and whatnots. And he walked in that hospital to 3 or 3.5.
Oh.
And they drew his blood, checked his numbers and everything, and they threw him on a gurney in an ambulance right away. They're like, "How the fuck are you conscious?
Yeah, how did you walk in here?"
So there's going to be some interesting nuggets in that book. He said, what he told us is, he said it's probably going to lose some friends, but
wow,
just because of the differing belief systems that are probably in that. But I'm fucking excited about it. Yeah. It's going to be a good read.
And just the change in his beliefs personally, right? Because he had a wide change from what I understand.
He's had a lot of crazy experiences.
Yeah. Do you know, is he like printing it enough to like sell it, or is he just?
It'll be on Amazon. So as soon as you buy it, they print it and ship it.
And he's doing Audible.
Yeah, he's doing the same.
Is he going to read it?
Similar thing that I did. Yeah, he's going to make an Audible version. Yep.
Good.
That's his plan. So
I think that, well, I know for a fact that changed everyone's religious belief in the family.
Yep.
Like, yeah, imagine your world and then flip it upside down. Probably like when your parents got a divorce.
Yeah.
Your world, upside down, figure it the fuck out. You don't have a dad. Your mom she's there, but she's not there. It's kind of just you and your siblings.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Everyone in their life has a crucible, something that burns and refines the chaff, and it happens at different stages in people's lives, but it's fucking crazy.
So did he get, like, is he on board with a publisher then, I would imagine, to produce that many copies, right? So.
Well, Amazon Direct Publishing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They upload it there, but yeah, he's been talking with editors, publishers.
Oh, okay.
It's been about a year in the making.
Oh, okay.
And we're down to the final moments.
He's probably excited to get it out there.
Yeah, he actually said he didn't want to write it. He wasn't going to write, but he said
Felt like he had
for
to,
years and years, he kept having something tell him, write the book. And then one day he's like, fine, I'll write it. Do it.
Stop nagging.
Yeah. And he said the day he started writing it, just quiet. Like,
interesting.
Do any of you guys want to write a book at one point in your life?
I did.
You did write a book?
I did write a book, but it wasn't a great book.
Oh, okay.
So as a teenager growing up, I know this is your interview, but we're kind of getting into all of it. It's fun. But the way I dealt with growing up, I would say, and getting my emotions out was I would write poetry.
Oh, okay.
So I compiled all my poems and put them into a book, and for young adults who are going through maybe some similar stuff, learning how to be a man, learning how to deal with the world, all this stuff, how to deal with emotions, like how to grow up. It's just like there was so much shit when sometimes I'd feel compelled to write when someone lost a kid or whatever it was. But yeah, I compiled all that into a book a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Because I had a similar thing. I was just like, this has got to get out there for somebody.
What's the book called?
And it's called Ruminations of the Adolescent Soul.
That's right.
It's kind of wordy.
That's a hell of a name.
Yeah, I know, right? And I compiled it, wrote it, got the cover for it, fucking everything in about 2 weeks. Because I was just like, I'm getting this shit out there. Yeah, because I had all my notes just in a notes app.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to get lost or something. So
I feel like that's very much the type of person you are, though. Like, once you set your mind to something, it's going to get done, probably, right?
Good luck stopping me, yeah. But there's some really deep ones in there. Like, I go back and I read them, and every time it chokes me up.
Really?
I don't, these poems, when I was writing them, I don't remember writing them. It's just, I felt like I'm channeling, right?
Yeah. It's right there.
There you go. It's still on Amazon. So,
how many reviews does it have?
Does it have reviews?
1 rating.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
There you go. It's probably from my mom.
If it's a good review, read it. If not, we'll move on.
Oh, you should please read it.
It's a 5-star.
I don't think they wrote anything. They just put a 5-star on it.
Winning.
Yeah.
Dubs.
And then shortly thereafter, I helped Jakey do the same thing.
Oh,
Guided him through the process because he had a bunch of writings as well that he wanted to get out. But it was, so I kind of have a small inkling of what my dad's been doing with it all. But
Interesting.
it's been fun. But same thing. I had all this baggage and shit from childhood, and then I just I wrote that, sent it out, and it was just I'm a clean slate. It was wild.
Did you feel like a, I don't know, like a weight off your shoulders almost when it was done? And that might be hard to remember, but
Yeah, I mean, kind of like something I was dragging behind. Like I'm holding on to my past.
Yeah.
Right. And it was holding me back, and I was just like, here, world, take it from me. And I got some good feedback. There was at least one person I know of that saved their life. So it was.
I mean,
I
that
got
alone
some good
is,
feedback on it. Yeah.
You save one person's life, and
it was just like
that's worth it.
That's cool. Oh, yeah. So, anyway, it's a lot, but
yeah, we've talked about a lot though.
Yeah, we have. Well, cool.
Are there any parting words or advice for the listeners that you have?
Oh, that's a big question. Just drop on me at the end. I don't know. For some reason this quote's been sticking in my mind this whole time, and I think it started when we started talking about running into trees when we're snowboarding. But I heard it a while ago, and it's really I've started changing my mindset because of it. And it's the skier that's skiing through the trees, thinking about not hitting the tree, will always hit the tree, while the skier that's skiing through the trees, thinking about staying on the right path, will make it out. Right. So just that mindset of not worrying about really what could happen, but focusing on what needs to happen, I guess.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. We'll leave with that.
That's
I
a
guess.
good one.
Like
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah,
I really
thanks for
appreciate
coming.
it.
Hell yeah.
Thanks
We
for
may or
the
may not
whiskey,
have
too.
a new guest next week, but thank you all for joining. Appreciate the comments, questions, all that.
Yep.
We'll see y'all next week.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Thanks, Ezra.
Yeah, of course.